That's the spirit.
We are live. Okay, cool. Awesome. I was not prepared for that, just like
Get ready.
usual.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whenever YouTube says we're ready, we're going.
Oh, so we aren't live yet.
We're live.
It's definitely live.
It's
Oh,
definitely
okay.
live.
This is definitely an after show.
We don't know
so-
where the hell we're at.
Yeah, who cares? Well, welcome. If you're watching, and if you're not, it's understandable. What you just witnessed was traumatic, and it will take a while to get over. We have the perpetrator here in the chat with us, actually. Rhetoric, my future husband. Hello, Reds.
I did not agree to anything. I do not know what is going on. And if I disappear suddenly, please delete my internet history.
But it will be the best weekend of your life, I promise. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Kyle, are you done flirting with my best friend?
No, don't get jail.
I don't care.
Don't get jail. So I guess the first thing we need to first of all, welcome. This is the after show for the I don't have a model debate.
The only debate in history where one person says they're going to bring something to talk about that they don't actually ever talk about.
Quite interesting, and we're getting ready to get into the middle of that. First, I want to address one thing straight off the bat, and that is what was going on in the live chat. There seems to have been an issue with some people getting timed out for various reasons. We are going back and looking through that. We apologize if you are one of the regulars that happen to get timed out. We're going to restructure how we're doing mods and kind of cutting back on those to keep this from prevent this from happening in the future, because quite a few of the regulars for some reason got timed out. So if you're watching and you were one of those people, we apologize. We've gotten your messages, and we are going to fix that. It wasn't anything, I'm sure, that was intentional, but we just need to jump on that, and we will. So I wanted to let you know that we are on top of that, and we will fix it.
Except if you see Halsoy, go ahead and time him out anytime you feel like it.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. We love Halsoy. Don't do that.
So
Shit.
I guess we should do what we do in grade school and go around the room and introduce yourself and say one cool fact about yourself, what you like to do, a nice little icebreaker. And we'll start with the handsome young gentleman in the top left-hand corner, Jamie.
Oh, hey. Yeah, what do I like to do? Geez. I mainly like to coddle the blue ball. I think that the Earth is definitely a blue ball. I enjoy watching a lot of these shows on YouTube. I have a good time with that. Reds, you've always impressed me since the first day I saw you about 3 months ago. And obviously, I am partial to the NonSequitur Show. I also would just like to remind everyone that Steven Anderson is not a secret homosexual.
Absolutely. And I will remind you, Jamie, to keep that niceness with Reds at a minimum. I'm watching you.
No jealousy.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'm kidding. Okay. To the old wizard man to my left, please introduce yourself for people who don't know you. Oh, that's Steve. Sorry.
Oh, I'm in the middle here. Okay, I'm kind of, I'm all over the place here. I'm on a different thing in the middle.
I'm kidding, Steve.
Anyways,
Everybody knows.
yeah,
Everybody
anyways,
knows who you are.
Yeah, I'm the guy that actually had to sit through all of that, not saying a word, dying a little bit more inside every time that I heard Darren say something completely wrong. But anyways, I'm Steve, and the fun fact with me, nobody's looked at my genitalia since I was a baby. So there you go.
That's actually not true, though, Steve. You weren't dying inside because you were listening to Jeranism's arguments. You were dying inside because you weren't actually able to speak. And we know.
Yeah, well, I could. Yeah, well, I was muted. Yeah, so I mean, I was listening without ability to say anything. Red did a fantastic job saying anything that I would have said. However, though,
of course he did. Back off, Steve.
Proxy, my anguish was being let out via Reds. Yes.
Back off, Steve.
Thank you for that. By proxy, Reds. Thank you.
Okay. I can't see Caparan.
Yeah, it's Capra. Yeah, my name is Capra, or where the fuck my pseudonym is. I 3D print shit and enjoy good clusterfucks, as tonight was definitely a wonderful clusterfuck. And I think I've been following Steve since like 2014 or some shit, you know.
Way back, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How's your channel doing?
What, me?
Yeah, you had a channel one time, didn't you?
No, not me.
You had. Are you sure?
This wasn't me. It was somebody else. Yeah.
Okay, and ESO.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Iso. I came to the NonSec for specifically the Flat Earth videos because, unfortunately, my brother refuses to join the was it Flat Anonymous or whatever you guys are doing
Flat
now?
Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've been trying my best to help him through it and been using the NonSec to try and help me with that.
Have you told your brother that flat isn't forever?
I've tried to explain that, but apparently the Bible is forever.
He's actually a real flat earther.
He flip flops back and forth between being a Poe and full on believing it.
Now, see, I think once you Poe, you're always a Poe.
Yeah, once a Poe, always a Poe.
Yeah,
Listen,
but
that's a different anonymous group, sir.
Yeah, that's a whole different group. I don't.
Poe's Anonymous is extra strength level. That's above our grade.
We'll leave that
We
for
can't help
somebody else to take that ball and run with it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with Aaron Ross so I can try and get through all that. But
That's a good bet right there. You can't go wrong with Arn. Okay, cockwork.
Who, me? Wait, hang on.
I think that's fixed now. He's no longer a cock. He's a clock.
Oh, damn it! He came in. Now he's no longer a cock. Oh well.
Pussy move.
He will always be a cock.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Am I not cockwork anymore?
No, you're fixed now.
Oh, gotcha.
You're definitely Rex.
No more cock for you.
You want to introduce yourself?
Well, I came in, just a random dude. So, what?
Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks.
All right.
So what? So
Sweet. Okay.
Riveting.
I'm not the
Well,
droid you're looking for.
we've already moved on, cock. Hillel.
So
Halal.
I guess it's my turn now.
Hillel.
Yeah.
Hillel
that's fine.
finder.
Hello.
Just keep going. It's fine. I'm me. I do flat Earth stuff. Basically, I just do tests that Reds and other people do, except it takes longer for me to do it, and I do them less well. So, and a fun fact about me, I have blue eyes, and I can tell you this: it is definitely a advantageous genetic trait.
Agreed.
Yeah, they're
Agreed.
blue eyes are
And I haven't
pretty.
even
And
seen them.
what else do you do? What is it you actually help take care of?
Well, I guess it's on to the next person.
The wiki.
No, I do just general stuff that most people can do. Like I try to do ISS transits, and a couple of weeks ago, actually, I did some stuff over the horizon kind of observations with some islands and etc., which I'll be putting together.
I was trying to get you to tell about how you take care of the Great Debate Community wiki, and you do an exceptional good job at it.
How do you confuse? Oh,
Trying to give you
Steve,
props there, man, but that's okay.
You shouldn't have.
No, I take it back now.
Okay. Oh.
And to the man behind the curtain, the wizard, the man upstairs, God, voice of doom, Wonder Woman.
excuse me.
Exactly. Introduce yourself, Slayer.
Well, I'm Boolina Nader. David, you can call me either one. David's probably easier. Yeah, I produced the NonSequitur Show, which basically means I push a bunch of buttons and shit happens. And fun fact about me, I am autistic savant, and that means I learn programming languages in about a day. So
He's also the answer to the question, what would a human Eeyore sound like?
right now, probably, because I have a fucking really shitty cold that a friend.
I'm Dave. I'm happy to be here.
I haven't heard that joke in a while. That's good.
I had to bring it back. Okay. Yeah. And the future Mr. Red Curtis. Go ahead, darling. Tell him.
Wow, this is getting weird.
I'm kidding. I know. It is getting a little awkward. Go ahead, Reds. I'll bro up.
Jesus
I'll
Christ.
bro up now.
I see. Okay, so yeah, I'm Red's Rhetoric. I'm that ugly fuck from Florida. Hi. Thank you all for watching the debate, and I believe I deserve to have my dick sucked after that because you motherfuckers just hit 1,000, huh?
There you go. Hey, there you go. Now
right.
he's all yours, Kyle.
Well, yeah.
Now that's right. Now that's right. I am now free to walk around with my cock out and just have people start randomly sucking it. That's right. Suck it. Suck it, all of you.
That was
yes.
That was never an issue.
Now, that happened one time with us, Reds. One time I said, "Oh, never again." Okay.
I will cut you. I will cut you.
The fact is that, in all seriousness, thank you all for watching. Listed in the description, there is a PayPal link to Sean Huffer. We're collecting donations to help a memorial service for Jade, who sadly passed away. She was a good friend of a lot of people. Hana Zubi is in the chat right now plugging the fundraiser, so please do me a favor and follow her advice. If you have the means, please donate whatever you can. There is no limit on this. We're trying to give Jade a proper send-off, and unfortunately that requires funds. So if you guys can help us out with that, it'll be greatly appreciated. And with that, we'll go into the after show. But once again, thank you all. Just thank you guys so much for kissing up to me. It's fucking amazing, and
we love to kiss up to you.
It was great. It was absolutely fucking great.
We know the ego you have.
I will cut you. Actually, we have someone else we need to introduce real quick. Sweet Heather.
Did Sweet Heather come in?
Sweet Heather.
Is that I know her real name, but
well, I guess she's camera shy. Anyway, Steve. Yeah, she's gone.
She's shy.
Great. There was your one chance, guys.
The only woman, and she already ran off. That's okay.
So let's get reactions.
It's good while it lasted, though.
Jamie, let's start with you. Reactions, thoughts, summarizations.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be bored and just like, okay, it's the same old. But for some reason, the disbelief just slapped me right in the face again. That there is no model presented whatsoever. It's again just. No, you know, math lies, NASA lies, everybody lies. My eyes have been open, your eyes are closed, and you're sheep, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, can you tell us a model? We're making models for you. Just accept something. That was what drove me nuts to the whole damn thing. And like I said, I thought I was going to go, oh, this again. But for some reason, it was like a car accident. I just had to keep watching.
Yeah, Reds and Jeranism are a interesting, I think, dynamic together, because when they're in debates separate, and they're facing different opponents, it's a lot different than I think when you have them together, because Reds tonight seems like, not that you don't normally, but you went after him like tactfully, like a surgeon. I mean, it was just like a scalpel filleting.
There's a story behind that. The reason is because I started getting into Flat Earth to directly debunk him. The way this all started is that he came in on a channel by the name of JC Canby, as we all know is short for his last name. And he was very nervous about, just coming out with it in 13 Heathens Hangout. That's where this all started. That's how Jeranism started. And so we finally just stopped him and we said, hey, do you honestly think that the earth is flat? Because he didn't just come out and say it. And there was a long pause and he said, well, yeah, I do. And then my first response is, you are one dumb motherfucker, aren't you? And he was taken aback by that. I don't know why, because it was the truth. And we started arguing back and forth, and he said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make a channel dedicated to Flat Earth. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to dedicate a channel to proving your ass wrong. And so it has been a never-ending shit show between myself and him until it got to a point where I challenged him to a structured, moderated debate. It was at that point that he tucked his tail and fucked right off at the speed of sound, and I've been chasing after him ever since for 2 fucking years. Finally, after 2 years, he agreed to do this debate. Well, that part actually is debatable, because some would argue that he didn't actually participate in this debate. He just kind of shat all over the chessboard. So I'll take what I can get.
I'm
How
really
does he land with 100,000 subs, though? I mean, that's
well, but how many of them actually agree with him? It's not that all of them do. But
and it's easy to sell stupid. It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, his followings are not the people that do agree with him are not the brightest people around. But Jamie, do you agree that I think that Jeranism forfeited the debate right off the bat when he had his opening statement? We had already planned on the format. His opening was supposed to give evidence for his model, and then later on he says he didn't even have a model. Don't you think he forfeited at the very beginning, and then not only forfeited, but then basically relegated the fact that he had no model and just relinquished the debate to Reds?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the whole point was there's a structure that's agreed to ahead of time. That's the point, and for then you to agree to that structure and then later basically renege on that because you're not presenting what you said you were going to. I mean, there's just no preparation whatsoever.
But can there be? I mean, can you?
No, but that's the point. That's why I say this is not a scientific issue. This is a psychological issue, because if you can't present anything other than, well, I just refuse to believe that, or you guys are duped, and that continual confirmation bias, then that alone with a person who's scientific minded would say, you know what, this is false. I don't have anything. I'm going to go and believe in Santa Claus and wait for presents under the tree this Christmas.
I totally agree with that. I think it's a psychological issue, not a scientific one. That's why I think presenting all the scientific evidence is not going to matter to them.
Yeah, I don't know if where it comes from, but I and like I said, I'm not a psychologist, so this is take this with a grain of salt. But my intuition would tell me that it's some type of insecurity where it's like either scorned because there's a perception that everyone's lying to me, or it's I'm not special in any way, shape, or form. This makes me special. I can get 100,000 people to like me immediately, even though I'm not doing anything else that's more public than that. And I know that sounds like I'm being arrogant and ad hominem or whatever. I really don't give a fuck.
No, it's spot on.
There's something driving. There's a motivation behind it that, as much as I appreciate Reds, you doing all that hard work, to prove what is actually obvious. There's the idea that it just shuts off. It's the fingers in the ear and no, I don't want to hear it. Whereas true scientists, they're actually listening. I mean, Cy Gart was in the chat and he actually was saying, I want to hear, like he was open-minded to hearing the science behind all of it. And then when he said that, made a comment that Reds sound like science. I think he was being sarcastic to prove the point. Like, wow, that sounds like science, because Red was putting out actual evidence. And then somebody commented and said, that's exactly correct. It sounds like science, but it's not actually science. And we're just in a circle game at that point. No clock, I didn't say circle jerk.
Well, from going forward, do you think it's worth having these types of discussions with certain flat earthers? I mean, obviously, there's no amount of evidence you can give Jeranism. I mean, at this point, it is a psychological thing. Red's brought a model. He described the model. He explained how it worked. Jeranism had none. At that point, you're no longer even having a discussion with somebody of rational mind.
But it's doomed from the beginning, though, because you can't bring a model for the flat Earth. It's impossible.
Right. No, I agree. Well, but it's psychological, because he thinks he can, and then at the same time recognizes, well, I don't have one. There's a disconnect there.
Well, this is why I wanted the debate to be titled the way it does, because it gives them a burden of proof to bear. Because keep in mind that one of the main reasons that Jaren didn't want to have this debate for 2 years is because we couldn't actually agree on how the debate would be formatted, or how it would be, basically what our points would be. He wanted the position to just say "nuh-uh" the entire time and let that be the debate. Essentially, I was the only one to bring evidence, and he would be bringing up evidence against the globe, but not for flat. That's not what I wanted. I wanted a direct comparison between flat Earth and round Earth. I wanted him to support flat, and I wanted to support, globe, and see which one came out on top with the amount of evidence that we could bring out. Because,
go ahead.
I
was just gonna say, how did you get him to agree after all this time to actually do a debate?
2 years ago, the reason why this was 2 years in the making is because he made a slip, because he thought he saw a error with the SpaceX launch with the moon moving in the background. And he said, that is totally fake. It's totally CGI. The moon doesn't move like that in the background, where it starts and stops like that. And within a few second period, that is bullshit. It's fake and whatever. So, Red, if you can model that for me in Kerbal Space Program or a simulator of some kind, I will debate you. So I got in contact with Halsoy. We did that. We uploaded it to YouTube, and we showed that it wasn't the moon moving in the background. It was a camera that was stationary in reference to the craft, but the craft was adjusting its orientation, making the moon move in the background. And all spacecrafts have some capability of reorientating themselves at will, whether that's with RCS or gyros. It doesn't matter. All spacecrafts have that capability, and he didn't know that because he's a dumb fuck. So when that happened, it's like, oh shit, this actually can be modeled. He decided to make every excuse in the book. Well, I will debate you, but only if you show your face. Oh, I will debate you, but only if you stop insulting my wife. Oh, I will debate you, but only if you promise not to say mean things to me. He was just constantly changing the parameters of what it would take to get him to actually agree to this, till he finally just admitted that he's not going to debate the type of debate that I wanted to have, which was globe Earth versus flat Earth. It was globe Earth only, yay or nay, where he could basically say nuh-uh the entire time, and I wasn't going to tolerate that shit. So finally, after this, I got him in a hangout. Astronomy Life modeled it for him in real time, where he could tell Astronomy Life how to orientate the camera and everything like that. At that point, he had no way out but to give me the debate he promised me over 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was blown. I watched that video, Red, you're talking about with the modeling of the was it a shuttle or was it? No, it was just a satellite, right? It was
SpaceX deployment.
That's right. And when I watched it go around twice, and how obviously it's in one orientation and it just goes like this. And when I heard him basically say, no, it needs to go around and point in the direction it's going like a plane, and not having any comprehension whatsoever that satellites operate completely different than aircraft. That's why I just went, there's something seriously wrong here. I mean, how can anybody take a position of authority in any way, shape, or form if they're that clueless?
I was going to say the same thing. When do you guys remember the last time he was on? And unfortunately, he was talking to Jesse, but Jesse had to go, unfortunately. And so I ended up.
The last time was Aaron.
No, okay. The last time before that, when he was talking to Jesse, and we kind of determined he didn't even know what the value of pi was. He didn't even know what pi was. He had no idea about very basic concepts. And into this last discussion that he had with the Reds, I mean, he's talking from almost like an authoritative position about quantum mechanics, what quantum mechanics dictates and stuff like that. It's like, does he not have any kind of self-awareness that he has never bothered to actually look into these actual subjects, and he's arguing a straw man from day one half the time? It's just very.
That's why I wanted to point out. I wanted to point out the fact that this dude likes to talk all high and mighty and stand on his perch and rant and rave and talk absolute nonsense. But when it comes to actually defending what he claims to be the truth, he's basically clueless. It's basically meant to maybe kind of give him a shock, like, oh, wow, maybe this is bullshit. Maybe what I am spewing on the internet is wrong. But at the very least, it should at least tell all of his viewers that he can go ahead and, say a clever bullshit story or speak it and be a fucking speech god. But in reality, what is there any substance there? Is there any foundation to his position? It should be clear to everyone that he doesn't have any.
Let's find out from you guys who are new and who haven't been into one of these before. By the way, hello, Rags. Welcome.
Rags.
Hi, what are we talking about?
You, of course. It's all about you. Always been about you.
We just had
about you.
We just had Reds and Jeranism in a flat Earth debate that actually they now hold the record for most people viewing one of our live streams. So
I don't know why you'd give these people the time of the day at this point.
Well,
we're
the show, man. For the
show. I mean, if that's what people want to see, then
we're here to please people. We're people pleasers.
I think it's just frustrating as hell. I don't get it, man. But if that's what people want, then hey, how many Call of Duties are there?
A lot.
Give what they want.
Let me ask you, Jimmy, do you think that this will be the last time you have to deal with Jeranism, Reds? I mean, where else can you go from here? I mean, he capitulated and said, I don't have a model. What else? When do you want? I don't.
Before you answer that,
where do we go from there?
Before you answer that, though, Reds, let me get a couple people who haven't spoken yet in here.
Sure thing. I'll hold tight.
Yeah. Who wants to speak first on what they thought how it went?
Oh, I really do. I really do.
Go ahead.
So, as someone who very patiently waited for 2 years for this debate, and as someone who actively tried to make this debate happen, I feel both severely disappointed by what we actually got, and also somehow at the same time extremely fulfilled by it. Also, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit ineloquent. I had to drink quite a lot to get through that. No offense, Reds.
That's even better, actually.
Yeah, but from Jeranism, I don't think he quite understands this, but we want him to give us, the flat Earth proof that he says is out there, and obviously in his time to do so, he sort of just kind of refused to do it. But and also interestingly, at the very beginning, he said that the globe Earth has evidence but not proof. So I take that as you will. I
don't know what that
have
means.
I have so many feelings about this, and it's so hard to express them.
Is this emotional for you at this point, Hillary?
Yeah,
You sound like you're choking up.
It goes deeper.
I know.
Okay, sorry, deep breaths. How did
we can talk here? We can chat.
Okay, so he agreed to go to a debate with the structure which model best comports with reality, and decided, I'm going to go to that, but I also have no model. That to me, that basically says, okay, I basically immediately forfeit, because if the question is which model is better, and you don't bring a model, at the very least, Red wins by default. I mean,
Yep, that's what I said to
come
Jamie.
on, don't at least try. But
the reason is because I knew that would be the outcome. That's why I wanted this debate to be structured in the way that it was, because it would force him to actually put up or shut up, and what we saw was him shutting the fuck up, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, I got to piggyback on what you're saying about the evidence and proof thing. It kind of made me chuckle, because in a court of law, while I hate equivocating courts of law procedure with debates on scientific matters, like Steve, you always say science doesn't prove anything. The idea that, in a court of law, you have evidences, but those don't prove anything. OJ had the glove, or something to that effect. That's right. It's about the preponderance of the evidence, that one side has far more evidence than the other side. That's the key.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of that, I wanted to touch on one more thing, which was this very untenable model he brought for science, which is basically that, real science is disproving stuff, but if you bring evidence that supports something, then it's not real science. And that is a completely untenable model for how science can operate, because if that's the case, then science cannot progress, because as soon as a test shows something, no other test can possibly show that thing again, otherwise it's false. So you bring this model of science which cannot make progression, which cannot move forward or build upon previous knowledge. Because if you try to build upon previous knowledge or try to test and end up confirming previous knowledge, that somehow means that the knowledge is not true as you've just confirmed it to be. So it's completely worthless. With this model, this is really the only kind of model he did bring, which is a completely untenable model for the operation of science itself. And there's this weird thing about, if you go into a test having some kind of, I don't really want to say presupposition, but having some kind of, if you've already done previous tests or seen previous things that lean you one way or the other, then he says that necessarily, then the outcome of the test is going to lean towards whatever that preconception is, which is just also completely untenable for science, because then he's basically saying any test I do is going to show a flat Earth, and no matter what happens.
I kind of what he's saying, though. I don't want to straw him too much. I think he's talking about, though, evidence. If you have evidence that leads to the likelihood of a hypothesis being more correct than some other things, then it is slightly biased toward that hypothesis. Maybe he's looking at it that way, but I think he has a fundamental misunderstanding of the scientific method and falsification criteria.
Well,
absolutely.
I think I can better explain it. If you have evidence that I was in a certain room, that doesn't mean I actually went in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically saying evidence does not equal truth. And if that's what he's saying, then I agree. But the question was never which model is true. The question was which model best comports with reality. You know, we try to construct the most accurate map of reality as possible. He's claiming that my map is pure horseshit. He's claiming that he has a map that's better. So go ahead and demonstrate it. That is what the debate was actually about.
Well, I like the way Jamie put it as like the likelihood things. Like, for example, Jamie, if I said, hey, you want to know about science and the age of the Earth, what is more likely based upon what we know the science, that it's 4.5 billion years old or that it was created yesterday? If you wanted to go independently look at evidence and determine for yourself what the age of the Earth was, the Earth is going to have a range. It's going to say what is more likely. And as soon as you get out of a certain range of around 4.5 billion years, then likelihood diminishes exponentially until you get to the point where it's just untenable. Could somebody argue there's a percent, there's a probability? Yeah, because it's not technically impossible, but it is a likelihood that is so extreme to be just insignificant. So science deals with ranges more than anything else when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and sorry, I was just going to answer what Steve's saying. It's the same thing with like I deal with this a lot with people who believe that America has certain constitutional rights, and they get their understanding from documents that were written in 1776. And everyone says, see, that's the closest to the original time, so therefore that's what's most accurate. And it's like, so like, for example, because the Declaration of Independence says that we were created, or excuse me, we're endowed by certain unalienable rights by our creator, that automatically means that we were created by God. And I say, look at what they knew. These are people who were shitting where they ate. I mean, they didn't understand that, the hygiene laws and things like the hygiene practices that we have today. So it's the same thing with flat Earth. They'll say, but look at this map from 1600. Look at this map from 1000 BC or whatever. I mean, it's like, why are you using stuff from an age where people had no idea, about anything? I don't know. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's like what happened?
They're living in the past, basically.
Yeah. It's like, then throw away your cell phone. Stop being a hypocrite. Throw away all your shit. Get rid of it all, because that didn't exist back then, and then you're good to go. Live on your flat Earth.
Yeah, go be a Quaker. I like Quakers. Don't do that.
Well, and I'm going to bring up something too that I kind of brought up before the debate even started, and I noted this. Red's, like an hour before, sent me his links, sent me his evidence to show during the debate that we didn't really have time to go into the evidence, but he at least showed evidence and brought links to put in the description. And he did, like, Jared literally just brought nothing. Like, he didn't send me anything.
What was he supposed to send you, though? That's my question.
Well, I knew he wouldn't, because there isn't anything to send, because it's not a tenable.
Well, I guess there's no BS flat Earth video that is just completely asinine.
He could have.
Like
he
the
could have.
Model.
The sun setting into the back of that pickup truck.
That was good, though. No, I buy that one. That was the NASA's hauls the sun out the way.
Nice trucks these days.
But it's not a tenable model, so he can't. I mean, there's no evidence to support a flat Earth. That's the point. But I knew he wouldn't. But the whole thing is like, why would you push for this? Like, why would you agree to the debate if you didn't have something? That's my big question, because he kind of just blew his wad tonight.
Oh, because you think there was just a swan song then? I mean, clearly his followers are not going to leave him. I mean, he's going to be, having massive followers regardless, because they're just stupid. But I mean, do you think that this is a big win as far as him admitting that he had no model to his own followers?
Yeah, Red summarized it perfectly with his microphone drop. I mean, that was. I mean, there should be no more videos. This is over.
I agree.
I mean, move on, people.
Yeah, I like Good.
Actually, along that same thing, it's that, basically, and, for certain people, I would say they don't quite understand. If you don't have a model, that means you can't make predictions. And if you can't make predictions about how reality operates, then you can't do anything. Your science can't progress. And so all this stuff he was presenting about, how these dominoes on this allegedly completely flat floor are supposed to, start curving off in the distance. But if you don't have a model, you can't predict that. So you got nothing.
Speaking of that, there's a question for you, Reds. It says, what axioms would be required to construct a flat Earth, and how there's no model that we would be able to there is no model now that would be able to encompass all of them. So I guess they're asking what axioms would be required to, I guess, try to even construct
A lot.
Yeah, untenable amount probably.
Or
right?
just one, the Earth is flat.
Yeah, there you go. They take it as that brute fact axiomatic assumption. There you go. Yeah,
There you
you could
go.
actually theoretically do that, I guess. But it's funny. I got to give you credit. You were a lot more humble than I would have been, because if you remember carefully, when I did my actual debate, I've only had 2 real debates. One with Wayne Fillmore, who eventually said, "Yes, Steve, you're right," and he actually left Young Inspirationism. And then I had one with Ronnie, True Empiricism. Do you remember what I told him after he didn't bring a model? Because the topic was specifically which model comports better with reality, intelligent design or evolution, right? He didn't bring any model. My rebuttal was just, what am I supposed to rebut? There was no argument. But you actually spent 15 more minutes or 20 minutes talking about it. I was like, I'm done. I have nothing to rebut. There was no argument. Let's go play chess.
Yeah, except Jaren likes to shit on the fucking board.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of going on Dell's video in response to you, Steve, and I made a comment about basically how Dell doesn't understand how cameras work, and this guy tried to get in, one of his mods tried to get in, started hitting me up on the chat or on the comment, replying back and forth, and he just kept going, "Show me curved water on the Earth, hurry up. Show me curved water on the Earth. Hurry up." So I'd show him, I'd link him to a video. A lot of the videos that Red's used tonight, I'd send him the same stuff. And he'd go, that's, I don't want Photoshopped images. Hurry up. So I finally realized what he's asking us to do. He's asking us to get like the Epcot Center, launch it up out into space, way away from all of Earth's gravity. So there's no effect of Earth gravity whatsoever. Then also bring enough gallon to cover that surface. Then you got to bring him with you so it's not Photoshopped. And then just sit out there and do all that work, and then after all that's done, just maybe a light bulb will go off. And it's like, Jesus,
that's pretty much it. No, and he wants it the size of the Earth. He wants us to create an Earth, show water bends it, and I don't know. It's just bizarre. Yeah. They know they're asking for just ridiculous stuff. I mean, that's why I can't take them seriously that they're asking for evidence.
That's why I remember a good video that was made by what's his fucking name? Wolfton or what? It starts with a fucking starts with a fucking W. Rhymes with wood, dumbass.
Oh, you doing? Yeah, we just call him W. Yeah, dumbass. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so it starts with a W. Anyway, he was asking for an experiment that shows that an atmosphere can exist next to a vacuum, and I told him I had an observation, because he was asking for empirical evidence. And he's like, "Oh, you have an observation? Ha 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 ha. I said empirical evidence." And Steve was like, "That's empirical, you dipshit." It's like,
I don't think he knows what any of these things mean. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. I don't think he knows like diffraction or refraction or these terms he throws out there. I don't think he really fundamentally understands any of them.
I like wonton.
Like they're asking for wonton. That's what it is. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
wonton.
Yeah, I like wonton. I love.
I was thinking of
Wolfton.
I sent wonton an invite.
Good.
I didn't think we called him wonton anymore.
Yeah,
he has to earn his way out of being called wonton.
Yeah, we don't call him Voton. We call him wonton because he lost his right.
I want him to say Occam's razor all night tonight.
So basically they ask for like experiments that are essentially impossible to do, like show me water sticking to a globe that I can hold in my fucking hand, when that's not how that works, or showing how an atmosphere can conform to a ball, as in let me go ahead and bring it to a chamber that's the size of you, and so that you can measure the atmosphere for yourself while you're suffocating to death because you're a little bit further away from the globe than you should be. That's not how that works. So you show them observations that have been done in reality, not necessarily experiments, but observations, and they won't accept that, when that is just as empirical as experimentation is. And yet these jackasses don't want to accept it. So what they're doing is that they're doing this on purpose. They're asking for the impossible and then getting butthurt when you can't give them the impossible.
Well, actually, that kind of is the opposite side of the coin as what Jeranism did about the equatorial telescopes. Instead of saying, okay, here's an experiment, as empirical proof. He basically says, okay, so the Earth is flat and equatorial telescopes work, so therefore equatorial telescopes work on a flat Earth. It's genius, really.
Well, why wouldn't he
think
just?
of this first?
Why couldn't he just create a program? Stellarium works on the on a round Earth model. I mean, anybody's worked with a telescope can show just by changing it, it'll actually track a star. I mean, it's an equatorial mount. So how would that work on a flat Earth? All he has to do is create somehow an image to show, okay, on a flat Earth, here's the star, here's the mount, right? Okay, I'm moving it. Oh shit, there goes the star. And it
exactly.
Doesn't follow, then you look at it, the Earth's not flat. Simple as that.
And also a bit of a request for the hosts of the NonSequitur Show. Put in the description that as of this moment, Jeranism has not shown how an equatorial telescope works on a flat Earth. And the very moment he actually proves that, we will change the description.
Okay.
Oh, let's see.
Very moment
that reminds me. Let's see how your poll's doing.
Oh shit! I forgot about the poll.
So,
No.
Yeah.
Twitter.
People skew polls just because they're assholes. It's ridiculous. I would say you could probably throw away 10% of the poll. That's what.
So, out of 118 votes, it is 91% flat Earth. 91%. What is going on with the world?
I didn't even know
we
were voting tonight.
Wait a minute. Which model best comports with reality? I also see the 91%, but that's globe Earth.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right.
Well, still, the fact is only 91.
Jeranism voted under 12 different accounts. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. So I bet you that 9%. None of them are actual flat earthers.
Can everybody actually hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, my microphone was completely fucked up. I was going to say.
I told you that before you got here.
Well, am I better now? That's the question.
Oh, okay.
Am I okay now?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean,
it's not bad. Yeah, it's been a piece of shit. What really pisses me off is when he's talking about Stephen Hawking. At the very end, you mentioned if you're gonna spew out shit, you better be able to take shit. That just really pisses me off. And somebody said in the side chat, I honestly believe that he does not believe this shit, and he's just in it for the Patreon money. I could be completely.
I totally agree with that. Oh, sure. I'm just going to straight out say it. I at this point, I totally think he's 100% a con man.
What people are dumb enough to give me money? Flat earthers.
Flat earthers. Yes. We're in the wrong motherfucking thing. We all need to go flat.
Like there's losers out there making.
We have honor and integrity. I'm sorry. Forget that idea.
Is there a flat earther in the live chat that thinks that they have a model?
Oh, please, dear God, say yes.
Red's dick on camera if you come in with an actual flat Earth model. How about that?
Also, I just sent an invite to Awoken Souls. I just sent an invite over to Awoken Souls.
Not Awoken Souls.
They claim that they have.
Do you remember who Awoken Souls is? Do you remember him?
Model.
Keep in
mind.
Yes,
I'm letting the world burn tonight, Steve.
I am way too sober.
I'm letting the world burn.
I will go ahead. Okay, hang on. Okay, if you want to do this, let me go ahead and grab a waterproof receptacle. I will be right back.
And oven mitts.
But I need people in the live chat. Some of you go over to Awoken Soul stream and flood his chat. He's got 50. I think he's got 54 people watching. We have almost 400. So some of you can go over there and tell him that we want him over here.
There's
Bring his
audience. People
and by the way,
let echo chamber. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's no flat earthers in here. They're accusing us of making an echo chamber.
Well, first of all, it's an after show. We can have anybody here we fucking want. Don't have any flat earthers in here. That's our choice.
Exactly.
Not every show has, and even on our main shows, we have guests in there. It's like they're not.
I don't want an echo chamber there.
Yeah, we have retards in here all the time.
But if you want to come in, nobody stopped you. Nobody asked to say, "I'm a flat earther. I have a model. Can I come in?" We would have said, "Yes, hells yes."
Hey,
I offered Christopher to come in, or whatever his freaking name is, with the crazy stuff.
The other guys, though, you guys that haven't spoken yet, do you guys have anything that you want to tag onto this before it gets before shit just goes into
a? Is he really coming in?
Turn up the autism to 11. Let's do it.
I I just kind of wanted to comment. I was kind of drawing some parallels in my mind towards like Matt Dillahunty's debate with was it Sygart or who was it?
IP.
Falcon. Yeah, I saw that.
Where he literally sat there and pulled out his predictions for the whole debate before the debate really got.
That was Aaron Ra. Yeah, that was Aaron Ra.
Was that
I predicted that he would not Jeranism would not have a model. The reason I knew but it was a kind of unfair prediction because I know from experience he was going around trying to find a model before he got here and couldn't find one, and that's why I think he just came in and said what he said because his model that he thought he had already had been debunked, and so he was.
It's weird because you'd think with all of these people getting woke, one of them would come up with a model. I mean, if the movement's growing so much, then you think somebody eventually would be like, maybe we should like draw this or something.
Yeah, actually, I think it was very telling what Jeranism said.
Can you tell us what woke means, though, Rags, real quick, for those who may not know? Can you define what woke means?
Woke is not that's what it stands for.
Define woke. In this sense, it means in the sense of the flat Earth thing. I think that it means how would old brother Ernest put it? I guess. It's like you've been asleep your whole life, man, and you've been buying into the lies. But waking up is like symbolic of you coming to an understanding about how the world really is, man.
My eyes have been opened, and I've awakened from the dream state of the NASA constant influx of propaganda for the blue ball.
By the way, Brother Ernest is a not only is he a flat earther, but he is also someone that believes that Bruce Lee was a hoax.
I beg your
Another
pardon?
one?
What?
He was the one. He was the first one that did. That's right, Brother Ernest.
All right, so what that does is it means okay, Bruce Lee's a hoax, but the guy who plays Bruce Lee, he's amazing.
Right.
Okay, hang on. A little bit of a update. So on Awake Souls live stream, people are doing what we asked them to do, which was to relay the message. So thank you very much for doing that. But a user by the name of The Noise said, at Awake Souls, the FE core people, some of them at least, are really tearing into Jaren right now. I can't say how I know this, but man, they are pissed at Jaren.
Good.
You're making us look like
I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
Dude, he actually said, I don't have a model. I mean, that game over. Game over, guys.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't quite get to finish.
You don't have a
was
model.
That, I think it's very telling what Jeranism. Yeah, I think it's very telling what Jeranism said at the very end, which is basically that, Red, he's not going to convince any flat earthers, but I might convince some globe earth sheeple to look into the flat earth and have them, hashtag research flat earth, which will bring them to our side. For him, this was all about, spreading the good word and, continuing the movement.
He is right about one thing, though. It is growing.
And he says that my position is the religious one. Fucking hilarious.
I was going to say, I do have a question. What the hell was he talking about with like this fishing line and going to like the ocean or something like that? Can anybody elaborate on what the fuck he's talking about? This experiment that he wants to do?
No.
If you have if you draw a circle, and let's say you have 2 points on that circle, one at 90 degrees and one at 45 degrees. If you want to draw a line from one point to the other, you will see that the shortest path, being a line, would go through that circle. It would not go over it. It would go in it.
Sure.
So what he wants to do,
wherever we go, honestly,
what he
that's
wants,
a decent.
Yeah, what he wants to do is he wants to have a fishing line at one point over water, and then he wants to stretch that fishing line to the other side of the coast, because per the path of the shortest path being a line, and the fish line being taught to a line, it should follow that same logic. It should go under the curvature, and the only way you can go under the curvature is when that curvature is actually water. So he wants to go to a large body of water, stretch fishing line across it, have it be equal height above the water on both sides, and then see if the center of the fishing line dips below the water. And if it does, apparently he'll become a flat earther tomorrow.
Are we talking about 50 miles here, or are we talking about like 50
miles? I think he said 3 miles actually. My
I mean,
question
yeah,
is,
That's not
this is gonna have to
anything.
be- This is going to have to be a huge distance,
Yeah.
or at least a
Well,
pretty
I
substantial
mean,
one
does he have, like,
for this to work.
does he have like a in the people who are thinking about sending the space elevator, they're using like some sort of like a very nanotubing type shit. I mean, hell, I mean, if they had nanotubes, maybe
But that's not rigid though. That's strong.
That's,
That's
he's always going to have problems with slack.
there's
Always.
no rigidity in fishing wire. I can tell you.
It's going to bend because of the weight. Like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
it's not rigid.
Oh,
It's not
by the way,
rigid.
let me stop you guys for a second. Hi, Dr. Griffith.
Hi, Dr. Griffith.
Dr. Griffith.
Hi.
Hello. But the main thing is that, like you said, it seems like
for
this
staying
is
up
way
with us.
too easy for him to just say, "Oh yeah, well it wasn't completely taut," or because of density, it's bending towards the middle, or something like
He
that.
always
Sagging under its own weight though.
There's always something.
It's going to bow. Yeah, what the fuck?
well, he will.
Why
He
doesn't
will
he go take some
purposely-
science classes? I mean, I don't understand that. If he wants to debunk
Well-
something, he should take some science classes, learn how to do it, how to go about debunking things properly, and go from there.
Steve, you don't take
Well-
down the system by joining the system.
Yes. Steve,
We
you're
actually argued
complacent.
that before, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? The only reason why he's probably comfortable with doing this retarded experiment is because he knows it's going to fail, and since he knows it's going to fail, it just proves that he's a liar. He's a liar. He doesn't believe this shit. He knows it's going to fail.
I honestly don't think that he does believe it any longer. I think to him, it's just one big, hey, screw you, Reds and blue ballers. I'm making bank off this, and I have stupid people to follow me. So I'm just going to say whatever comes to my mind. People are going to buy it, and I'm going to ramble for 20 fucking minutes and say absolutely nothing, and people are still going to be Patreon. That's how he looks at it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean,
I
wrong with
that.
people do believe
Well-
him.
Well, here's the thing. I did want to say that Awake Soul's stream is quite humorously titled "Jeranism is the fakest flat Earth channel online."
Oh, he
Just
hates-
do it, fail! Exclamation point.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
And then
hang on,
Alpha takes over.
personal
Jeranism of the
invite.
Rose.
Hang on, personal invite to Awake Souls. I heard that you had a model, a flat Earth model. And so I would like for you to come on this show, this after show, and give us said flat Earth model, because you would be the only fucking flat earther to actually do that.
Oh,
Imagine
go tell on people that Reds has called him out.
He's
that
got,
we don't
he's got
think-
the big guns right here. This is his chance. I mean, he's going against the
We don't
biggest
think he's man enough to do
bunker
it.
there is.
I
Doesn't
am
make it sound
calling
really
that
good.
motherfucker out right now.
Don't make it sound really
The
good.
I am
King Shell
calling
himself.
make it
Wow.
sound good. Okay. Not only will I go ahead and talk to this guy, but let's hypothetically say he does bring a model that comports with reality in one fucking aspect that cannot be instantly debunked within 15 fucking seconds. If he actually stumps me for 15 seconds, that's all he has to do is stump me for 15 fucking seconds, I will send him my DJI Mavic Pro and all the accessories I bought for it.
I can stump you. No, I'm not-
Oh, somebody
that's-
please.
yeah.
Okay, now we need somebody in the live chat to go and relay that message.
Everybody go over there and do that. So
Send
just
it
like-
to Awake Souls.
I-
That's an open call out to Awake Souls.
We'll send you a shirt once we open our store if whoever gets him in here.
Reds, do you remember, was it Halsoy? I'm not familiar with his content, but it was him and Wonton, I think, that he showed him 2 points across an English channel or something. And he goes, would you agree that that's a straight line? And Wonton goes, yes. And then he kept zooming in and zooming in and zooming in. And he showed it compared to a straight line that it had a slight curve to it. And it was like 60 miles across or something like that. Were you a part of that? I thought it was on one of your channel, on one of your videos.
Wonton never actually came on any of my hangouts.
Do you know what I'm referring to, though? Maybe I have the names.
I think it was was it a Rumpus hangout or Sean Hufford hangout or something? I do remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They had a scale, they had a line, and they're like, he's like, yeah, that's straight. And every time they zoomed in on it more,
Yeah,
you
it
could
showed
actually-
a space. It showed a space between the actual straight line and then the
Right.
surface of the earth. So that's where I'm getting at when he's sitting there saying he's going to drag a fishing line across some lake. It's like, I don't think you understand the scale. Yes, it's flatter than a pancake to us when we're ants on the surface.
Breaking news.
Yep.
Sorry, Jamie, but breaking
go ahead.
news. Awake Souls is claiming that they do have a model and it's on.
Oh shit!
Well,
Grab the popcorn. Grab the fucking popcorn.
people are saying that it was Rumpus and it was on Sean Hufford's, I think. So I think that we're right on that. But yeah, All right, hey, let's bring him in. If we could, before we do that,
Bring that dude
I
in.
have got to get some whiskey for this. I've got. There's no way I can do this again.
Please.
Jesus
That'll
fucking
ruin the
Christ.
experiment.
I gotta
Hey.
get some caffeine.
Hey, while we're waiting, back on Jeranism's experiment he's going to do, isn't there a way you could devise a string or whatever to go across the 3 miles without it dipping too much?
No, it still has its
Well,
own weight. to be
It's going to have you'll still get some dip in it, but I was thinking, you could do stuff like
Lasers.
if you can get the
Oh God, don't tell Jeranism about lasers. He's done enough with
Don't
those.
don't
No.
bring
He
it
still can't get that.
no lasers.
If you want to do it with a
The
line, you
same
need to
man
make a
who tried
neutral.
to get, who tried to film. He went to a live feed of the ISS and went to his backyard with a blue laser and just waved it wildly around the sky, thinking he should be able to see it from the ISS live feed.
Oh fucking hell!
I'm telling you, you have to take a step back and go, okay, is this guy just really stupid, or he doesn't believe this at all and just doing this for shits and giggles? Because
It's not-
I think that in the right mind, that would work.
But he doesn't question the headlights on his vehicle only giving him so much visibility.
Yeah, he never tried overdriving his headlights, because I do that quite frequently. I'll go fast. Red's had it happen to him. I think, well, you weren't even overdriving your headlights when you hit those pigs, were you?
The pigs are black. You couldn't see them at all.
But when you're
they
overdriving
were-
your headlights, you're going faster than what your headlights can actually show, and so you have
well, I
no-
was doing 65 miles an hour, so that might be.
well, they didn't say much of a chance either way.
No, they didn't say much. Oh, I obliterated the shit out of those
Yeah,
fuckers.
kind of like what you did Jeranism tonight. You know what? You should put Jeranism's
Fuck.
face on those pigs and make that video. He's big.
Supersonic clothesline.
And the RKO.
Yeah, we're mean. Those poor pigs.
Those poor
Oh, more
pigs.
bad for the pigs that did Jeranism. That's for damn sure.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
don't know what you guys are.
anyway, back to Jeranism. That the experiments he come up with all technically work on paper. If you were able to shine a laser just right, you would see it in the ISS camera. Or if you had this fishing line, perfectly taut, then yes, it would show the exact result. But that's just the thing. These tests only work under the most ideal of situations. Under
So you're saying
situations
that flat Earth
that just don't happen. They just don't exist.
You could technically kind of make that line work if you make it a neutral buoyancy line in water. That way you'll get away from the whole weight issue,
But
and
then
it's
aren't you
easier to
kind of
pick up.
curving it. But
Yes, that's what I was thinking about, is like a flexible tubing material filled with water, so you got
then you
the
have waves to
buoyance.
contend with.
Yes, you'd
No.
have
The wind.
If not if it's neutral buoyant.
Oh, it just
like
stays
you-
there. You're right. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, the problem then is you'd just be getting into the curve then when you
I don't know what that would
No.
actually
after
prove,
like
though.
a 3
No.
mile-
Okay, so let's set up this experiment. Let's say you have, just because a lot of people, or today they've been talking about fishing lines. That they're Spurs, for one, say they've already manufactured a fishing line, a specialized line, right? So if you had an actual neutral buoyant fishing line that was anchored at 2 points, both at sea level, it would go underwater at some point, considering the surface of the Earth,
what,
or
what
the
is
surface, the water would follow
Do you know how
the
long
curve
that
of the
would
Earth.
have to be, though? Really, though.
yeah,
I mean,
Yes, that's the thing.
I mean, I'm visualizing the scenario, but it's like that's not going to work on any small scale.
Yeah, plus there's a reason they call it mean sea level, because it's actually not equal everywhere that you go.
Yeah, exactly. So
True.
for if you wanted to control it, you would need to do it on a very closed lake with minimum influx of water from streams, and have it do it
okay,
on a
right.
completely still day, right? So, but
me-
it's
let me,
like it's certainly stupid.
Let me just jump in real quick. He is saying that he wants to do this where it's set up and a formal back and
Oh, good
forth.
God.
Well, hold on. I said that we could do both, but I said this would be a great way to build some tension before that big debate. So, people in the live chat, I need you to go with me now. I'm in the live chat over there right now, and help me convince this guy to come on over here and just have a little chat back and forth. That's it. Just a nice, friendly chat.
So he's wanting to have a structured, moderated debate and supposedly do a better job than Jaren did?
Yeah, but I said
he's going to call you a Satanist right off in the first 2 minutes.
I said we can still do that, but
this is the whole point of Flatline, Kyle. I mean, this was the point. Line them up and let them come in one right after the other. When one drops and fails, they're right there as a backup force.
Well, fuck it. Let's play now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's do Flatline right now.
Let's play Flatline.
Well, hang on. We do have an open call out to Awake Souls. So Kyle, right with you. I am on his live stream right now. So I will go ahead and say
good.
I am personally calling this dude out. So let's do this.
Right, but Red, make sure that you tell him that you won't agree to a full-on debate unless you're and spars a little bit.
Actually,
out there, like he's
got a full debate. If you have to have a preliminary thing because you have to see if he at least has something preliminary to bring to the table.
This is like when the UFC fighters are meet nose to nose, and in some cases, privates to privates, where they're so close.
Yeah,
and one of them like says "bitch" in your face, and the other one doesn't flinch. That's what we need right here. We need Reg. We need you to use the bitch thing.
Hey, my mother's a bitch.
Pose for the photo.
Knew that was coming.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We are very thankful to be asked on the NonSequitur Show. We have been sending people to your chat. Well, we want you. We want to send you over here. I appreciate the people that are coming over from Awoken Souls, but yeah.
I mean, this could be
we have 1/3 of the audience. Main debate.
What'd you say,
there
Rex?
you go.
300 people watching.
I said I will agree to a structured and moderate debate if you come into the Non-Sec After Show and chat for a bit. Short, sweet, simple, to the point.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Dude, he's got.
Well, Rags, what did you say?
I was saying that we could very well be witnessing the rise of the new king of the Flat Earthers.
We could. This could be
it. This would avoid the power struggle and civil war of the Flat Earthers, and they would be able to crown a new leader, a new king, right here before
the new Jeranism.
Well, you guys better be careful about that.
I'm not saying it's a prestigious event. I'm just saying it'll happen. Baby steps to greatness. Baby steps to greatness.
Well, there's some bigger than him. I mean, Mark Sargent's bigger than him, right?
But does he have a model?
No. Although he is supposed to come in, and he hasn't yet. I've talked to him a few times.
Yeah, the king was just dethroned tonight. Who's going to step in and claim that crown?
It's a power vacuum, guys. Come on, power vacuum in the flat Earth community.
No, come on, Steve. A power vacuum can't exist next to a non-vacuum.
Yeah. Oh, that was brilliant. Brilliant.
It's like the thing they said, but different. Yes.
Well, you said something funny for the first time in 3 years.
I know. Somehow.
Why don't you go jerk off and get back to us in a second?
You know what? I'll be right back, actually.
With your newfound strength.
You better get some alcohol.
Speaking of jerking off, when Del, or as I like to call him, Deltoid, was on the show, somebody brought up in the comments about regardless of your position, flat or globe, can you explain how the circumferences at one latitude is the same as the equivalent latitude south, right, north and south? I mean, why is that so difficult? Obviously the only model that they could ever even start with, unless this guy's got something that's going to blow my mind, is that was it equatorial azimuth, or what's that name of that map that they use in the UN for the UN logo?
Equidistant map.
Equidistant. Yeah, that map, right? Because he made a comment tonight that said, well, the longitude and latitude lines is just given to us so that it fits your globe model. They're just arbitrary values. I don't think he understands what a degree is and a minute and a second. But the point is okay, those are the lines we're going to go with. Can you explain the circumferences? What would the circumference be on your model, and why are they the same when airlines and cargo only transports go around the circumference through connecting flights? Why are they the same?
Yeah, it's called an azimuthal equidistant projection.
Thank you.
Yeah, but can you hold a minute in your hand and can you show it to me? Ha!
Checkmate, atheists.
Checkmate, atheists. Take that L.
So I just told him. I said, okay, the throne is vacant, and we are looking for the next king of the flat Earth.
You know, we're
Nothing will appeal to this guy. Not pride, not bribery, nothing.
Look,
Why would he come
you
in?
would think that the allure of stardom, not that stars exist, but the allure of stardom would propel somebody into. I mean, what do you have to lose?
Well, I just heard a little bit from the other stream. So I'm running his stream on my phone so that I can actually hear what the fuck he has to say. So he said, quote, I'm quoting here, we are not like Jeranism. We are going to bring actual evidence. Oh, I can't fucking wait.
Okay, they want you to call into their show, and we have a phone number.
I'm not going to give him my phone number.
Well,
I'll call them. I'll call them. Hold on, let me get my-
Kyle, you are a better
Kyle
person
get
than
his-
I ever think.
this
Kyle get his burner phone.
Like, you know, if anyone has a burner phone,
Reg, don't you have a Google number or something?
I don't. I used to, not anymore though.
Doesn't it come with pretty much every Gmail account?
we gotta get a sound effect for that.
Anybody got the number?
Yeah, ready?
I also had a Skype number.
Okay, here's their phone number. It is.
Hold on.
You want to read it or just send it to you in chat? It doesn't matter. It's public now.
Hold on. I'm loading up my burner thing real quick.
You got your protections on there. Your NASA high tech. You know, can't find me. You know, can't try.
Satellites are linking in outer space.
I've been to prison. What? I've been to prison. What? Some not hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
Reds. I was going to say,
that's
you need
how it
CIA,
happened.
Reds, you need the CIA burn phone. We can get you one of those. I'll pick up the bat phone.
That's fine. Listen. Just to make sure that people understand it, Kyle. There's no point in hiding anymore. So just use my NSA password. It'll block your number. It's Sweaty Man Nipples 1997.
They'll never guess that.
Exactly.
I know.
But can they hold it in your hand?
If you hear the words "required," get out of the house. Okay.
Let me get the number real quick, guys. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Steve.
This is the super secret, top secret number they have: 254 262 64
Hold on, 262.
6427.
I just white paged it. It's definitely an Asian sex line. I
haven't gotten off
his
today.
home phone number.
I haven't gotten off today.
Hey, nephew, do you want to call for a good time?
Jesus fucking Christ, this is great.
The men are men, and so are the women.
The NonSequitur Show.
You're an incompetent, delusional moron. You're beyond help, son. You're an incompetent, delusional moron.
Hold on. Reds, are you ready?
Oh, that's great.
All right, hold on, everybody.
I didn't make that my ringtone.
Get Red's ready. Are they going to swap my call too?
That's what I say. If you hear target acquired, get the fuck out.
Awake Souls. It's Kyle Curtis from NonSequitur. How's it going?
Good. How are you? I saw in the chat that you were going to be calling in.
Yeah. We're wondering if you're going to stop by here.
Probably not tonight, but we look forward to getting together with you guys.
Well, come on. Give the people what they want. People want to see you over here. We'll be civil, I promise. We will be civil. And we don't have to debate. We can just chat about what went on tonight.
Well, that's what we're doing right now.
That's what I'm saying. Let's combine streams.
Yeah, but people watch us.
Watch the streams. Come on. People watch us. That's cool.
I don't even know how to combine streams because we use streaming software. So
well, you can.
That's such bullshit.
Yeah. How would that work?
He's making shit up.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me ask you this.
He's got 64
How many people do you have? How many
64.
people do you have watching right now?
64. We have 330.
Okay, well, we have 380.
Close enough.
So come over here. You'll get some. Bring your people over here, and you can speak to a bigger audience.
Don't cross the
if you
streams. If I
round
learned
it
anything from
280.
1980s movies.
always cross the streams.
Unless they're urine streams.
Oh god.
Please,
Take a minute to drink it.
I don't get it. We're giving them a big
Talk to allegedly Dave about that one.
Okay, hold on.
Think about
Reds.
Okay, hang on.
I think
Hang on.
Reds wants to talk to you for just a second. Go ahead, Reds.
We'll promote it and we'll try to make it the largest views that you've ever gotten. You'll probably make a bunch of money off of it.
I can't wait, but I'd rather have you over here now.
You got to have patience. We want to come with a.
I don't have patience. I don't have patience. And see, what we've already done is we've drummed up now this whole entire thing where you come over here and we just have a chat. And I mean, the people want you over here. They're actually chanting for you right now in the chat. Like you should.
This guy. This guy.
It's like the chain, man.
I'm really curious as to why Jeranism is wrong from a flat Earth perspective.
But see, yeah, and that's okay. Look, that was a good point. We just had somebody that's in our on our panel right now. They said that they would really like to hear what your view of Jeranism was from a flat Earth perspective. So we don't have to get into a globe Earth versus a flat Earth thing. It would be an interesting talk to have people who saw Jeranism's performance and then get what they thought about it. Doesn't have to be adversarial.
Well, that's what we're doing quite literally on my channel right now. Where we've got the phone here to receive calls and talk about this.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the term the bigger the party, the but the bigger the party, the bigger the party.
I mean, the fact is that we now have a lot more viewers right now, so you could actually reach a wider audience by coming onto our show.
Yeah. Get your views out there. Well, you know what? Just look, we'll be streaming here for a little bit. You think about it, and it doesn't have to be adversarial, but you're welcome to come over here and give us your perspective on how you think Jeranism did tonight in the debate.
Yeah, bad. It was bad.
Oh, we know. We just want to hear it from you.
It was bad.
I think that'll be the one thing that we actually agree on.
I like this guy.
But see, look, here's all that I'm offering is for us to do what we're doing right now instead of me holding up a phone and a speaker to a microphone, but actually having you in the room and everybody can hear you quite well. And if you need to stream, if you're still going to stream for a little bit, that's great. But if you get to where you're wrapping up and you want to come in, shoot me an email and we'll send you the link, and then you can come in here and tell us what you thought.
All right. Well, we'll think it over. Thank you for the call.
Yep.
And we look forward to organizing a great debate.
Awesome.
And let's promote it. Let's make it big, huh?
We'll do. Globe heads rule, flat tards drool.
This sounds just like a booty call I made last night. It was unfruitful.
I don't, what the hell just happened? What's going on? I don't know.
Begging and the carrot hanging out there and nothing.
I think Kyle's got a date planned on this or something. I don't know what the hell to do.
If somebody calls me and says, hey, that audience, well, how about something that's like, 5, 6, 7 times bigger? I'd be like, hell yeah, sign me the fuck up. Let's do this.
I don't get it. I really don't. Yeah, you know what? What it has to be. What it has to be is that they aren't as confident in their model as they think they are. And they know that. And by coming over here, that would get brought out. And so this show of bravado that they're doing in the face of Jeranism getting clobbered the way that he did would all come tumbling down. Because see, when this kind of thing happens, you kind of want to ride that wave. Like, oh, big guy goes down, vacuum opens, you can kind of come in and feel it. But if he instantly comes over here and the same thing happens to them, it's all over. I mean, you're in the same boat. But by stretching it out and saying, "Oh, we got a debate coming. We got a debate coming."
It seems like just a revolving of people claiming to have a model.
Well, here's what I'm saying. That Jaren got his shit kicked in when other flat earthers are looking at you going, dude, what the fuck?
You think they're going to eat it their own on this one? Because it seems like it's already started. I mean, they're.
I can't I can't fucking.
And I think he's earned it. But one thing, hey, by the way, Awake Souls has more subs. This just proves that bigger isn't always necessarily better, because they only have 64.
Well,
watching.
what are we talking about?
We have 300 watching.
Let's clarify this first. What are we talking
Bigger's
about?
not always better. It's how you use it. I mean, look at Rack's channel. You have a lot more subs than we got, but our channel's better.
We're also coming right off of a stream that was well announced to a very, very large audience that was already.
I saw you
here.
guys break 600 viewers for a little bit there too.
We hit 1,000.
We almost hit 1,000.
The highest I've ever gotten on my own was 650. Non-Sequitur hit 1,000. So yeah,
twice.
It's pretty sweet.
Twice.
You think you'd be riding that right now?
Yeah, we did good things today, but I am angered that he is refusing our invitation. I'm
angered that Flat Earth is what gets this many views.
I agree with you on that.
You assholes.
Right?
Well, let's be honest though. Let's be honest. If you take a step back and you look at the things we like individually that are not fringe or not crazy or not just completely stupid, like history or, for Steve, philosophy or that kind of thing. That's very mellow, and there are certain periods where you want to watch something like that. Certain periods that you don't. But with a train wreck, doesn't matter what mood you're in or what you're doing or where you're at, you will always stop to watch a train wreck.
I did feel that was a slow,
but I'm watching Cops.
Well, actually, Kyle, I have to slightly disagree because I wouldn't say this is.
Oh, hold on. Let me find my mute button. We don't do disagreement in after shows.
There you go.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Sorry. Actually, I was disagreeing.
I have to give an update. So Smee just said at Rhetoric, no, the Flurfers are mad at him for making too much sense. I saw someone in the chat bitch that he admitted that the ISS exists.
Stop it.
What? That the ISS exists.
Oh yeah.
Jeranism, we trusted you.
I mean,
we trusted you, Jared. We trusted you.
Can we point out that his logo is a globe Earth?
Yeah. Even in the flat Earth community, though, there's so much disagreement among themselves among very simple things. Half of them will think one way, half of them think another way. You ask 5 flat Earthers if the ISS exists, you don't know what you're going to get as an answer.
Exactly.
So, Hillel, what were you saying? Hillel, Halal?
I'm sorry, I was mistaken. I'm actually disagreeing with Ocean.
Well, we all do that.
Just
yeah,
good.
What do you know? Nobody agrees with Ocean.
Just to say that it was not. We got 1,000. We got 1,000 views. Was not Flat Earth. This was an intellectual curb stomp 2 years in the making.
Some people just want to watch a SmackDown.
I kind of disagree because I've seen like
Ocean,
you know that a lot of your big stuff.
Careful, Ocean. He's emotionally invested in this. Okay, we found this out before you came in. He has a very close attachment to this debate. And,
oh yeah, he did get emotional.
Yeah, he did.
And
he did.
You have any idea how many goats I sacrificed to make this happen?
He described it more lovingly than I do any of my exes.
Sacrifice the
yeah, it was creepy. Like this is gonna be like his baby. Are you gonna watch this every day for the rest of your life? Finder,
shut the fuck up.
You are. That's a yes. That's a yes.
It's going to be masturbation material for the next week.
Good fat material.
Yeah, if he's not hard for the next week for 2 hours straight.
Oh, Reds, I think
he's going to be resembling a water hose, like a fire hose.
Red, you destroyed Flat Earth for tonight because I gave an open invitation to people in the chat that wanted to come in to defend the model. I sent the link to Wotan. Wotan normally is there waiting on the link before I can even give it to him, and nothing from
tell him about Occam's razor.
Nothing from one time.
Oh.
Say it one more time, motherfucker. Occam's razor. Say it.
You shook him.
Right in my wheel.
You shook
Red,
him.
I'm going to be arguing with you next. I'm going to advocate for the flat midgard.
Midgard.
I'm intrigued.
Sounds like a sex position.
What's the name of the bridge?
The flat midgard.
Well, in that case,
yeah, it's the Bifrost.
In that case,
I got a.
It probably is. Anyway. Here's the thing. So I have this thing called a job that I need to do tomorrow. So I'm actually going to hit the hay now. But let me go ahead and just say this. Steve, you have my phone number. And if a flat earther were to come in here, you have permission to wake me from my slumber, and I will definitely not kill you or send you a bag of dicks.
Why don't I have your number? That's the bigger issue
And
here.
why doesn't he have a bag of dicks from you?
Where would you get that?
Yeah,
see how this plays out.
It's because I refuse to have my number on a shitty iPhone.
Goodbye, Reds. You're yelling rhetoric to me now. You're yelling.
Can't argue that logic.
See, now you finally got it.
I think Bullinator had something to say. I think he
Like I'm on Zoom and I'm making fun of iPhones. Like this is the worst.
Bullinator, you good to go, or you have to end this?
Well, I was gonna actually, give Reds a proper set off here. I think I still have that little clip with the Occam's razor thing.
Oh, cool.
Oh god. Okay, I'm going now. Peace out, guys.
You gotta listen.
You gotta hear the clip.
Yeah.
What does
the flat Earth
look like?
Occam's razor says.
What country you from?
Well, Occam's razor. Occam's razor.
Ain't no country I ever heard of. They speak English and
Occam's razor. Occam's razor.
English, motherfucker. Do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying. Describe what
the flat Earth
looks like.
Well, Occam's razor.
Occam's razor again. Say
Occam's razor
again. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say
Occam's razor
one more goddamn time.
It's flat.
Go on.
It's big.
Does it look like a
ball? Well, Occam's razor.
Does it look like a
ball?
Oh my god.
That is thanks to our very own Jamie.
That was
so much.
I'll never get tired of
crap.
Oh, God. I turned red. This is real tears of laughter.
I'm laughing really
turned
quickly.
red.
That was fucking hilarious.
Does anyone not have tears right now?
Oh God.
Well, let's ask Jordan Peterson what he thought of it.
I'm of the opinion that we should be researching the metaphorical substrate of the flat Earth so that we can understand it better. Actually, because if you examine ancient art going back thousands of years, you'll see that there is a flatness to a lot of things. And I think that that's because that when the ancients were eating a lot of mushrooms, you understand that they saw into the reality of the flat Earth. That's the truth. That's the absolutely true.
For the past 6 nights, I have gone to bed with.
That's what he argues. That's what he literally argues. They got high on mushrooms and had shamanistic.
He does. But I recently bought his book, the 12 Rules for Life. I bought it on Audible. So
have you cleaned your room yet, Kyle?
Make sure you make
you know what? Lobsters are the big thing, though. Lobsters and wrens. He talks a lot about lobsters and wrens.
Well, that's because lobsters are my personal god.
Well, that makes sense.
I don't have time to read
theology that I'm advocating.
Kyle, I don't have time to read the book, so I had to get the Cliff Notes version, and it said steps 1, 2, and 3 was buy more of his books.
That's true, but I will say, okay.
You also can pay $40 for a
give Jordan Peterson a bad rap. I think. Does he say crazy shit? Yes. As a whole, is his advice pretty good? I would say yes.
He's saying basic as shit, Kyle.
At least the book that
falls into two categories.
At least the book that I'm listening to, he makes sense.
12 Rules for Life, right?
Yes, and I love his stance on free speech. I don't think that I think watching him outside of that school building where he jumps up on that picnic table, like in the Dead Poet Society, that'll get you riled up, man.
He stole his view of free speech from like Thomas Jefferson or some shit. Like that idea's been around for a little bit.
You're just an anti-Peter. That's what you are.
Yes, I am an anti-Peterson. If you want to be, his stuff falls into two categories.
You just hate postmodernism.
It's either basic as shit, like really, really fucking basic, or it's completely incomprehensible.
Hey, Ocean, why don't we have a major discussion of standpoint theory and postmodernist discussions?
No.
Deepak Chopra meets Tony Robbins.
Does he say shit that's crazy? Yes. Does everybody? Yes. There's only one person on the planet that has the mindset of somebody I think is the perfect thinking human being, and that is.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it.
No, not even close.
No,
Joe Rogan.
Oh,
I think if everybody could emulate Joe Rogan, it would be a better planet, because he's one of those people that He never tries to admit more than he knows. He's very careful about that. He asks questions, at the fear of sounding stupid or something that he may not know. And he's open-minded, and he's forward-thinking. And in his talks, I don't think there's anybody better in terms of a conversation.
He's coming on the show when?
He loves Jordan Peterson. They're best friends. Well, they're really good friends.
I know they talk, but I don't really know his opinion on it.
Which, I mean, he's right. He's the one that said that Jordan Peterson was the most under. How do you put it?
Underappreciated?
No, not underappreciated.
Aligned unjustly.
I think Peterson gets like one or two things right. The rest I just think is absolute bullshit.
Misrepresented. He was the most misrepresented person that he's ever met. That almost everything that he reads in headlines and stuff like that.
I'm telling you, when somebody advocates that people smoke mushrooms and has shamanistic visions and discover DNA, anything past that point they have to tell me is not going to be taken too seriously.
Have you ever done it?
It doesn't matter. That's not how.
But Steve, you admit that you
I agree with him on one issue. Yes,
at several times have been able to put yourself into yourself without the use of mushrooms.
But I didn't say I discovered DNA 3,000 years ago.
Right. But you put yourself into a trance, right?
Well, I believe the trance happens, sure.
Right. So imagine that amped up on psychedelics. Maybe you could discover.
He says they discovered DNA hundreds and hundreds of years ago before we even knew what DNA was, just because of visions.
I don't know. I'm crazy. I believe that the Sphinx is older than they say it is. I will go out on a limb and believe that
you've been listening to too many conspiracy theories.
What method would they have discovered?
Calm down, Kyle.
What's that?
Like, through what mechanism would they discover DNA through mushrooms?
Who knows? Who knows
the mechanism would be called mushrooms?
There were some damn good motherfucking mushrooms. That's why.
All I hear
mushrooms are the mechanism. Don't question it.
Mushrooms are the mechanism.
All I hear are people who
they
are
both start with the letter M.
That's all I hear. There's closed-mindedness everywhere.
No, I have to agree with Kyle because I initially thought like Peterson was pretty interesting. I kind of was sort of like a follower until I figured out all this Christian bullshit. And I definitely agree with your opinion on Joe Rogan because he's interviewed Peterson. I've listened to that entire discussion. I've also listened to the Alex Jones one, which was insane. But yeah, I mean,
did you watch?
That's the thing, though. That's the thing, though, about him.
It's not the Christian bullshit for me. It's the boomerism.
He's able to balance. I think with Joe, he's able to balance people like Alex Jones and Jordan Peterson, and just people who are in all different categories. He handles them the exact same way, and he's the exact same with all of them, and it's a great conversation. But yes, Alex Jones is a mess, like a mess.
So when's he coming on the show?
And
he's already proven himself opposed, so it's not like it really matters.
Yeah, but he didn't discover how they're putting those.
Kyle, have you seen
the freaking frogs gay? So
I blame the male vitality bullshit.
What did you say, Ocean?
Have you seen the indie song remix of Alex Jones's rants?
I have seen many. That's a guilty pleasure of mine, actually.
There's a super deluxe one that's really good.
The folk song one, though, the one where they sing the frogs being gay, but in a folk like a Mumford and Son.
That one's so good.
It's epic. I mean, I literally pissed myself. It was so funny.
I lost my shit over the literal pot-bellied goblins are coming to kill.
Yes, yes.
That one I just lost.
The demon from hell. She's a goddamn demon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone needs to make one of those.
He's dangerous, though.
Smells like sulfur.
That's the freaky thing about Alex Jones is because when you're in that world, you're always going through that tunnel. Like if he comes out and says that it's all for entertainment or whatever, they think that it's the globalists that are putting him up to it. They think that he's a you know what I'm saying. You're just in this endless loop of conspiracy, and how he has 6 million people that listen to that on the regular. I just don't get it. I mean, I really don't.
Speaking of what you just said there, when we were talking earlier about sending Wotan or whoever up into a shuttle just so they can actually view the Earth from space, and I was like, if they came back and recanted everything they've ever said after that experience, someone's just going to say they're now
all
NASA
that money actually went into his pocket.
Nothing's changed.
I have to quote James Randi. They're the unsinkable rubber ducks. And if you brought fucking Victor, what the hell he wants to call himself, up there, he's just gonna claim that I was like drugged by NASA or some bullshit.
Yep.
Unsinkable rubber ducks. I've never heard that before, but I love it.
Let's switch gears real quick because we have
1 second before we switch gears. Steve, do you remember?
I said we're switching gears.
Do you remember Commando, Steve?
I do remember Commando, a concave theory, Earth.
Yes, concave theory of the Earth, like convex theory of the Earth. He believed that there was he was like minorly polytheist, and he was also like really into Gnosticism as well.
Yeah, that was actually Bullinator on his fake account.
Let's follow me here. Let's leave the Earth for a second and Jamie, this is relevant to you because I recently have found my new pastime that I am obsessed with watching. I can't stop watching them for some reason, even though a lot of the times they piss me off just for little things, but I can see why they're doing what they're doing. But I am obsessed with First Amendment auditors, and I don't know if you've heard of these people. Have you heard? Has everybody heard?
I've definitely heard of them.
I'm the one that I think got you into it, isn't it?
No. I was watching a compilation for Sovereign Citizens, and it just bled over into.
That was a new sex toy, Steve, that you got him into.
Yeah.
Please explain
Does everybody in here before we go on? Does everybody here know what a First Amendment auditor is?
Negative. Could you please elaborate?
I don't.
Okay, so if you don't know what it is, what a First Amendment auditor does is they arm themselves with a video camera and they'll go into police stations, city hall. A lot of them go to like state power plants, state nuclear sites, Air Force bases, Army bases, and they stand in the public property. If it's outside, they're with the public way. It's inside the areas that's public, and they just stand there with a video camera and they walk around and they just tape whatever they can see until someone comes and engages them. Now, 9.5 times out of 10, it's very adversarial, where you'll have the police come up and tell them that you can't film here. What are you doing? Because it looks suspicious as fuck, and especially in today's society, you see somebody looming around a state trooper school out there just filming, it looks creepy. So what they do is they push it as far as they can. So you have like News Now Houston, News Now Patrick, James Free. I have just become immersed in these people, and they have an endless amount of videos. It's amazing how many videos they have. If you haven't checked them out, go watch them. But what I don't agree with, and now why I agree that they have the right to do that, and that in some cases it should be pointed out. What I don't agree with is the withholding of while they're there. So they'll come in and they'll be filming, a building. The cops will come up and say, you can't film here. Now the cops are in the wrong, yes, but when they ask for like ID, when they ask why, no, they are.
They're not in the wrong.
They absolutely are.
No, they're not in the wrong.
They are in the wrong.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Oh, wait. I watch all these videos because I'm a big fan of this because I actually watch James.
They are.
This is a big.
What's the question? I was zoned out. Who's in the wrong about what? I want to know.
Whether or not they're allowed to film in certain areas. There is.
The police are in the wrong
for things like that.
The police are in the wrong.
No, I'm saying they're not in the wrong.
You're saying the police are in the wrong.
So this is the biggest misunderstanding about these First Amendment auditors, and this is the problem. So just a little background, okay? I serve as a policy analyst with congressional politicians. These are people who are representatives in the U.S. Congress. I sit on a committee, and when bills come through, I sit with this team of people to make sure that it's going to pass constitutional scrutiny. I also am doing pre-law classes right now for constitutional law and political science to learn to do substantive rights, basically civil rights cases. The first thing that you're taught through these courses is the idea of what public means, and this is a thing that they don't understand. The concept that the treaties that you learn is called privilege and license to be thereon. So when a store like Walmart is open to the public, they say, "Oh, it's open to the public, therefore I can go in here and do whatever I want." That's not true.
Hang on, Jamie. That's not that they film it. They're not filming on.
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
No,
filming on-
I know that. I'm not done. I'm
Okay.
not done.
Okay.
This is gonna be dissertating. So when you go into a public store and you say this is open to the public, therefore I can go in and walk through it like it's public. What they don't understand is if a store manager walks up to you for any reason whatsoever and says leave,
But we're not talking about those.
leave, otherwise it's trespassing.
But that's not
If
the
there-
truth.
I will get there. You're gonna have to give me the mic for a few minutes. So it's just like if you walked back to the back of a store and it has a sign that says employees only or private or anything like that.
Sure,
Dressing rooms, for example. These are implied things that everybody understands. But for some reason, they think it does not apply at all when they walk into a business, a post office, a Department of Motor Vehicles, a public safety building, any government building. They go, because this was paid for with tax dollars, therefore it's open to the public and I can walk through in here anywhere that I want. And that's not true. You're only allowed to be there for business. People allow the public to come in because it does look shady when people are just kicked out for no reason. But if you just walk in and the manager of that place, a post office, a Department of Motor Vehicles, whatever, walks in and says, "Do you have business here?" and you say no, and they say, "Then leave," they are exercising an actual regulation. They're doing the license and possession to be thereon, which is authorized. It goes from the Constitution down to the congressional legislation, down to the code, down to the administrative regulation, down to the local ordinance, and it goes down.
I've never seen those videos.
That includes loitering outside.
Jamie, that's never been in the video. That's not the videos they do.
Hold on.
So when they walk into
that
these
is probably
places,
that. I mean, that is more than likely true. I don't know, but
yeah, that's true.
But based on what these videos show,
that's not what
based on the way that the cops handle the situations, all of them always either admit that they were wrong or let them go. Like there's no kind of pushback on the cops. And so when
I watched a lot of times cops are stupid on this stuff.
So when
they know that they can look out for this stuff.
But ultimately, what they do when these people are going up to these businesses. Now, granted, I don't think that they're in the right doing what they're doing, how they're doing it. Like I don't think that you should put forth a air of suspicion, especially in today's climate. Like somebody lurking around with a video camera. Yes, do they have the right to? Maybe. After what Jamie said, I don't know, because he would know more about that than I would. But the way that each police officer or person at the the post office or whatever kind of governmental building handles it on these videos is they always let them go, or they always say, well, yeah, you have the right to do this, or their superior comes out and says, yeah, you're well within your legal right to do this. Okay. So it may be true, Jamie, that what you said is the way that it is. I don't know, because I'm ignorant when it comes to that. But I'm just going based on what I see.
I'm saying that they're arrogant.
Let me tell you what the videos are, because I think you do have a straw man here, honestly. Because I watch these videos. They don't go in and disloiter there. Okay, there's a Homeland Security memo that has been put out. That has been given
totally loitering outside.
They've been given a Homeland Security memo that has basically have said that the press has access to the public in any public foyer or any place that can be seen from the public for filming and anything of that nature. So they go in, and when they're asked, do you have business here? Yes, I'm filming this for a video. At that point, they are within the guidelines, they believe, for being there. And every single time it's held up in court. There's been no arrest that I've seen for them to be convicted for anything. So the Homeland Security memo themselves says you are authorized to go in there and film as long as you don't disrupt the normal course of business. They have a First Amendment right to go in there and film.
Thank you. There is the kicker. As long as you don't disrupt the business, right. Because the way that they respond and the way that they refuse to be in any way, shape, or form cooperative is a disruption. It stops in every single video that I've ever seen. It causes chaos. Mm-hmm. You have guards coming. Police.
That's their fault. They disrupted it.
There are 6 different people coming around. And what's the ultimate? Like, to me, I look at intent. I look at, okay, you have somebody who is in a building, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to bait a reaction. I mean, they linger. You can see some of these videos. They linger for 30, 45 minutes, just walking around viewing stuff until they're engaged. So their entire reason for going out is to catch a reaction.
Are they legally able to film there? That's the first thing you need to determine.
Did I
Yes,
ever?
they are.
Okay, yeah, okay. So
And,
they're
here's
legally-
how, and here's how they're legally able to film. It's called call ahead of time and make an appointment.
No,
Like
no, they're
right.
not
and
required
like
to do
any
that. Right.
legitimate, like any
They're not required to
legitimate,
do that.
like any legitimate press corps does. This bullshit. I've got a YouTube channel and I'm going to name myself News Now Larry is bullshit.
Well,
So
it's legal though. The courts have said it's legal though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is this here we go again with the quote mining and just I got this.
Is it legal or not legal?
It's legal to film in public, yes, but it's all about context. That's what I'm trying to say here is when you're baiting people and yes, it does come down to, unfortunately, it comes down to comfortability. If the manager of that place says I'm uncomfortable with this, there was no order done by it wasn't done by an appointment, there was no advance notice or anything like that, and says I just want this person to leave because they're not here to actually do business, and the police comes in and says then you got to go because now you're trespassing at that point, then you got to go.
Well, the law has not substantiated that though.
It's the same thing as these guys that wear these big AR-15 assault rifles and walk down the street. Like in today's
that's
climate,
Second Amendment, that's different.
But I know it's the Second Amendment, but it's the same principle. Like you're flaunting your right in a.
But it's legal.
It's legal. It's legal, yes. But in today's climate, I think that you have to have a little bit more an air of common sense about you than to linger like that, especially around these buildings when people in schools and cops are getting shot like they are. Like it's just a bad idea. Is it legal? It's the same thing that I say this. Do I have the right to use racial slurs? Yes. I have that right. Do I do it? No, because I'm a decent human being.
I think standing up for the First Amendment.
There are certain things that, yes, you have the right to do. Does not mean that it is the appropriate thing. Or imagine how they look at it. They're probably heightened as it is when that kind of thing happens. They don't know who they're going to approach. They don't know who they're going out to talk to. It could be somebody whips out a gun, and then oftentimes they are armed.
They're open carry, but the open carry people, I have not heard of an open carry shooting ever happening when they're doing these types of demonstrations.
But you never know.
But that's not the one the cops should be worried about. These are actual people just demonstrating. And they're allowed to do it.
It's not demonstrating because there's not a group of people.
That's really what they're doing.
No.
They're exercising their Second Amendment rights.
There's not a group of people going around who are being pushed down from their right to film in public. I mean, it's creating an issue that doesn't exist.
I disagree more.
They're not there with any clear purpose or motivation or signage or pamphlets. There's no call ahead. That is disruptive.
No,
absolutely.
I disagree. Look at Dave. If they're there,
I agree with David here.
They're actually filming something.
Yeah.
And they're actually. Can I finish? If they're actually filming something and they are not disrupting the course of business, if the business decides to call the police, at that moment, the business is now deciding that they are disrupting the course of business.
But that person still brought about that action.
Every single time the cops have come out, they've said these people are not disrupting the course of business. They're allowed to be here, and they've gone away.
No. They didn't say that. Now, there have been several times where they said that if you don't leave,
I have a
point
to make. They've done that, and they've also been noted afterwards that they were wrong. So
no. There's actually the guy from Houston.
I have a point to make here.
Yeah, hold on. The guy in Houston is actually going to court for that, for disorderly conduct.
Every single time that's in the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Right. Let's not forget that there could be a whole bunch that you're not seeing that were actually arrested and the video fucking confiscated that we're not allowed to see. So let's go back to what Jamie said, and that it actually could be illegal, and that the ones you're seeing are the ones that got away.
That's true.
And you also have to remember too that they're only going to let you see the videos where they look like heroes. Because there's a lot of times you see editing. I mean, there's one that's going on right now that's major, where the Shark Group, which is an animal rights organization, filmed a Marshall Farms was the name of the testing laboratory, but they filmed it with a drone. the laboratory just was like, who's flying a drone? They were wrong in the sense they don't understand the drone filming laws. Called the police, and the police came and just said, what's going on here, and basically at that point it became, how did you get here? They said, well, we drove. And they said, well, I just need to see your driver's license to prove that you're a lawful driver. And they said, I'm not showing you ID. And it went into that thing, not understanding that.
Yeah, that's legal.
Right. So it became a thing, but all of a sudden it was edited video. And then magically they're walking out of the station, even though they went in with handcuffs, and it's, we convinced them. And well, why didn't you film all of your convincing arguments and statements? How do we know that you didn't actually, in fact, get arrested or not? So it's just those kinds of things. They're usually edited in a way to make them look like the victor. And
there are times where there are times where I think that they are in the right. There are certain instances where they are on a obvious public street, and you do have police officers that like the heated, the passion and pushing their authority around. I don't think that's the majority of the cases. I think the majority of the cases are do they have the right? Sure, maybe I'll grant that. Does that mean that it's something that should be done? I don't think so, and especially because it's what it is it's a YouTube thing that is caught on, and it's all about going out, getting a reaction, and posting that, because you never see videos of them just wandering around. Everything's hunky dory. Everybody says hello, and how are you doing?
Well, I think they post some good audits too, but
I've never seen that.
Let me give an example. Let's say there's been this watch group that goes after these rodeos because they find that the rodeos are harming animals, and I think there's something to be said for that.
That's way different.
And they film on the public roadway. And by the way, Jamie, the public, when they talk about the public, they're talking about things that are provided for fundage from the county.
I know what they're talking about.
So, I want to clarify, but I mean, when you talk about Walmart, I think there's, I understand what you're trying to say, but
it's the same thing. The licensing and possession to be
that's
there.
An analogy.
But I think the analogy fails because Walmart's not owned by the county.
And it doesn't fail. That's what I'm saying. You're in error. That's the point.
Possibly.
It's licensed and
this is their argument that it's owned by the county.
And that's why I'm saying they're wrong. That's
I would love to have a discussion on that and find out who's right on that. I'm not a law person, but that is their argument. So when they're out there on the public and they're filming these rodeos and showing the horrible things that go on, the cops are coming out there trying to arrest them by violating their First Amendment rights. And
when's that ever happened?
Well, a couple of videos on that already.
I've never
it still boils down to this. I think if you don't exercise your rights, you do have a tendency to lose them. And I think I'm a very strong advocate of First and Second Amendment rights. And so these people want to go out there and exercise them, and no matter what context, if they're not breaking the law, I don't really care.
That's insane. Who is denied their right to film in public? It's not an issue. That's what I'm saying. It nothing.
Is an issue. If you go through the proper channels, right? Like if you notify a place, hey, we're coming by to film,
right? You wouldn't have an issue.
But the question is because
no one is.
But the question then because it's no longer a right; it's a privilege at that point. If you have to get permission, it's not a right.
That's ridiculous.
It's not necessarily permission to provide notification.
Well, that's what a right means. You don't need to have permission. It's an unalienable right.
Look, if I have a landlord, they have the right to come into, say, do an inspection, but they also are required to give notice.
But that's not a First or Second Amendment.
It doesn't mean I'm giving them the privilege.
But that's not a First or Second Amendment right. That's not a constitutional right.
Why shouldn't somebody use a racial slur, Steve?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, no, it does. It's a First Amendment issue.
Yeah, if you want to stand out in public and slur your heart content, right. Be my guest. I've never said you can't.
But is that the right thing to do?
But that's okay. First of all, there's a whole difference between exercising your First Amendment right to just screw with somebody, and I think that
what do you think they're doing?
Listen, when I think we're using the N-word, I think that has a lot of invectives and pejoratives and a lot of history for it. And I think that's harassment at that point because the N-word has negativity towards it. And so when you're out there, certain free speech, or you are limited by, you can't say certain things. And if it's causing harassment, which I think the N-word would, then that would be considered to be
because the N-word has a negative perception, and so does some creepy person standing around with a camera not answering questions.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly as an argument.
All right, so
I think it flies
Steve,
beautifully.
you always make a comment about how it's important that we use proper terms. So first off, there is no such thing as a First Amendment and Second Amendment right. They're liberties. And this is the thing that a lot of people in America have backwards. What everybody calls a right, they really mean a liberty. And what everybody calls a liberty, they really mean a right. Rights deal with protected classes. It's about ensuring that a minority gets the same privilege and immunity afforded to a majority. The liberty is the idea of exercising something. The second thing I want to say is, where in the First Amendment, and I know you don't actually prescribe to this belief, but this is what most first auditors do, is it's a hypocritical statement. They say, the First Amendment guarantees it to me. And then I say, where in the First Amendment
the way the church,
you have a right to go out and tape it?
It's the way the courts have interpreted the First Amendment.
Right. So we live in a common law country.
Same with the Second Amendment.
It's all about case history, precedence.
Yes.
Right. Stare decisis. So whenever we look at those court cases, First Amendment issues deal with election laws, petition laws, reformation laws. We're not seeing things like, do I have a right to tape? Those aren't Supreme Court decisions that we're seeing. So when we say there's no case, or there's no cases where that's been upheld that a police officer can tell somebody, I'm saying that's incorrect.
Okay, what are the first 10 amendments called, though?
That's because they're an error. Number one, the founding fathers did not refer to them as Bill of Rights. It's something that Americans just picked up and took on.
But that's what it's called. Okay, so
it's straight up wrong. You're not going to learn that in a constitutional school. You're not going to learn it in a law school.
I get you. That's one of those things but has been so ingrained, though, that is now considered to be the common parlance to call it the Bill of Rights.
Like the definition of atheism.
Right. Thank you. Just like
that's not how it works.
So it's
not how it works
in law. But wait, it is. No, hang on. In law, though, it's called the Bill of Rights, is it not? Yeah, this doesn't help your argument. It hurts it.
Summary of what we're referring to, but they're just amendments, and that's what people understand is they're amendments. That means they can change.
But in the field of law, what are they called?
It's a nickname given to the first 10 amendments. It doesn't mean that they're rights.
Okay, so
it's not a legal term. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, it's a nomenclature rather than a legal term.
Yeah. Just like when you go into due process, everybody says, I want my rights for due process. And they don't even refer to them. It's substantive and procedural.
Are you sure you're not going by like 1700 case law?
No.
Usually the people that do the freeman stuff are all running off Black's Law Dictionary.
The freeman sovereign citizen is a completely different bullshit.
Yeah, that's not what
we're not talking about any of this.
But
they're in a world unto their own.
Pursuant to the Articles of Confederation.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, Steve, that I disagree with the sentiment, the idea that government should be held accountable. I completely understand that. But it's the idea that they're now a self-proclaimed accredited auditor. I mean, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I've taken umbrage of too. I'm like, what makes somebody certified to do this? Because there's no certification. But my concern is that if somebody goes out and
my certification with that came with a camera. So
when people go out and do this, if they don't do it by literally the book and step by step and make sure that they're not in any harm, then there's going to be a problem, right? Because
it's all for show.
Some of them put their lives on the line for the wrong reason. If they're not in the right, even if they are in the right, you still can get killed. I mean, like they said, I do believe that you probably are like 9 more times likely to be killed by a cop in America than by accident, or whatever. What is it by?
I think you're still more likely to be killed by an accident.
By a criminal with a gun.
It's just like the people who ride through the border checks for are you a U.S. citizen? Rather than just simply answering that question, you'll have them.
But you have to. I like to know the law. I would love to get a lawyer, and I know Jeremy.
They're right though that I don't have to answer it. I'm not going to aid you in your investigation. It's just being a dick.
But
you know what I mean?
Like question. Okay, fine. They're being dicks.
It's not a question. That's my ultimate point. It was never in dispute whether or not people have the right to be a dick. It's whether or not you, as a decent human being, should be.
I don't think it's
putting yourself out there like that. I
always go back. I'm not a citizen of the state. How does that make me a bad human being or a bad person?
Because why are you doing it?
Why do you want my papers?
Why are you doing it though? When you
remember Germany?
they're not asking for your papers. You just have to
That's
answer
exactly
yes or no
what it
question.
is. They are asking you
No.
for documentation.
No. They ask you
your verbal. They're asking for
negative.
your verbal word that you are.
Right. Right.
Why?
A yes or no question.
Why do you need to know that?
When they're asking for papers, are they asking for
They don't ask for papers.
Not
They don't ask for papers. They just ask you for a yes or no question. But my ultimate point is, why is it the right thing to do to hem them up, take them away from people who actually could be entering the country illegally, searching cars that could be bringing drugs over the border, and they're tied up with this dickhead who just refuses to answer a yes or no question.
If the people doing it are not doing it in accordance to the law, then why shouldn't they be able to count?
It's so frustrating that you would rather them deal with somebody who just wants to be a dick than somebody who really could be bringing cocaine.
No,
or
I look at the much bigger
across
picture.
the border.
I'm absolutely a First or Second Amendment advocate.
So, Steve,
it has nothing to do with
Sorry, I don't want to trigger you, Jam. I saw what happens when I do that.
Now, I might be incorrect here.
I want to make sure I'm using your right. It's not a pronoun, I guess noun. I want to make sure I'm using your right now.
I was looking things up real quick as far as numbers about whether or not you're more likely to be killed by a cop or by homicide.
That's
homicide seems to be more likely, at least in the state of California. There's in 2016, 1930, there's 1,930 deaths by homicide. 157 were killed by police.
Look at Texas.
Yeah.
I was trying to find Texas, but whenever I was looking up stuff, but as far as like police shootings in Texas, as far as homicides, there's 1,459 homicides, but I couldn't find the actual numbers for people that have been killed by cops in Texas because every time I was looking, I kept seeing like the shooting in Dallas where officers were killed. 5 officers were killed.
You just take away from like actual patrol people or police officers, or those people are dealing with these people who pose no threat. Hold on, who pose no threat. This person's just lingering and wanting to prove a point, and you're taking away resources that could be going to actual things that matter, or things that are, like crimes that are happening, or injuries, or anything like that. You're taking up that person just because you want a couple of extra.
That's all.
Just because you want a couple extra views on YouTube. That's all.
No, I think it's a lot bigger picture than that. I think it's bad. I think it's bad training from the police department. The police department should go. The police department should go out there and say, "Oh, you're doing nothing wrong. You're exercising your right," and leave. They're the ones that stay there for 45 minutes.
Do that though in this climate. When you see somebody,
they need better training. That's the whole point.
Somebody sketching around holding a video camera, you're not going to go, "Oh well, looks like that guy's just taking pictures by himself,
shot by cops trying to get cell phone
outside of the building." No, you're going to think
how many people have been shot for having a cell phone in their hand, or from running away from cops, or because they did not do the right thing. I saw a guy get killed in a hotel on video because
that's conflating two different issues. That's conflating
two 5 times.
They're not related. That conflates two.
It does go to training. It very much. Police have very.
See, what you're talking about right now has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Zero.
I haven't talked about training.
It has zero to do with the issue of somebody.
It has to do with whether or not the people
around
are
with a camera
around with phones are in the right or not. Yeah.
I
mean, can I ask Jamie a question right quick?
Yeah, of course.
And that guy say something, or
let him go. Let him go. He's been patiently waiting. Go ahead.
So the way that I'm thinking.
No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Steve, I'm sorry. Let Null. I don't know. Kaepernick.
Whatever my name is. Yeah, I actually got stopped by a cop when I was I was flying my drone. I was very, very close to a park, and they had like a no drone sign, and I was like veering my drone to just slightly to the right, and the cop came up to me. "Oh, you can't film here. I mean, you can't use your drone here," and it's stupid bullshit like that. I wasn't harming anybody.
Sure. Now that's different because you weren't out there to try to goat them into.
Kyle, you missed the big picture.
What year?
No, Steve, you're missing the bigger picture. No, you're missing the bigger picture.
Yeah,
this is
I'm not talking about people who genuinely have another reason.
And I'm going to explain this to you.
No, you don't need to explain anything.
I'm going to explain the Caperon.
Hold on. Let me clear what he's talking about.
Sure, then I'll explain it to Caperon.
Let me explain what his situation is, because I don't need clearing up. I can handle it myself. What he's talking about is somebody that is like, he's out in a park spinning a drone around, and it goes over a little bit too far, and the cop coming in and being an asshole to him, That's a different story than him saying, I'm going to take this drone, I'm going to fly it over top of the police academy until somebody comes out to have a confrontation with me. Those are two completely different scenarios. And the people that I'm talking about, not that they don't have the right to do what they're doing, it's the motive behind why they're doing it.
Okay, my turn?
That's it.
Okay, so let me explain to Capron why this is a huge issue, and I agree with you. You're out there and you're flying your drone and you're being harassed for flying a drone by exercising your constitutional rights. What these other people doing, these First Amendment auditors, are there showing cops there are people like you that should not be hassled for exercising your First Amendment rights. So what they're doing is they're auditing them so they know, these cops know there are people out there just like you that don't need to be bothered by them by they're executing their First Amendment rights. That's what these auditors are about. It's about training the police with the laws they're sworn to uphold, because they are violating these laws. They're violating search and seizure laws. They're going into people's back pockets and taking property that is illegal search and seizure. They're going into cars illegally.
Oh,
this happens.
Hold on, though.
That's why I was asking Capron, what year was it?
Bizarre.
This was last year during the summer.
Last year, right? You're probably fucking up. What building were you near?
It was a public park, basically.
Okay.
You might have been near a legal center. Here in Indiana, our DMVs, they do not mark their buildings. You do not know it's a DMV until you look it up.
Yeah.
Right, beside the point. So, how high were you flying the drone?
200 feet, I believe. I was actually, I think it was about 150. That's like the legal technical limit you're supposed to go up or something.
Okay, yeah. There's the legal limit changes depending on whether or not you're in a city and where you are, like what state you're in, and so on and such as, obviously. So if you had a camera on the drone, then there's another potential violation there, because that sometimes changes the limits. But there's like a whole bunch of fucking set of flight laws out there about whether or not you can fly a drone now. And I think and I'm in the state of Georgia. With some drones, you have to have like a pilot's license now in order to fly them, and there's like certain areas you can fly, and you have to buy a permit, and so as long as it's more than 5 feet off the ground in some places.
Cameron, are you breaking the law, Cameron?
The cop thought that you were in a spot that you shouldn't have been.
Cops think don't matter.
Too close.
Here's the thing that everybody's missing. It doesn't matter if the cop is right or wrong. The avenue to correct it is not to the police officer. Not ever. I don't give a shit how wrong they are. If I'm ever wrongfully arrested, I'm gonna turn around, put my hands behind my back, and go, take me to jail then. Because I'm going to deal with it the right way later. And that's the problem. These First Amendment auditors think that this idea of I am the governed that's giving consent for you to exist as an individual. No, you're the tree in the forest. It's the other 300 million people that have a silent consent. We don't need an individual doing anything. The consent is all good to go with how government exists. You might have individual complaints, you might have individual problems, but there are methods and processes to handle it. As soon as those methods and processes disappear or are proven to be greater than 75% inefficient, then it's time for a new form of government or a new way to do something. And that's what I'm saying. There's a process.
Okay, but was Capron, did you get arrested or you fined or cited for anything, Capron?
No, they just told me to throw it down, told me to leave.
Did you do anything illegal?
Negative.
Well, that you're aware of.
Well, I was going to go anyway. I was in the middle.
But that's my point. They're telling you to do something that you do not have to do, and that irks me.
Yeah.
How do we know?
If I had to get some sort of license, if I actually had to get
anything wrong, he wasn't breaking the law.
Yeah, but how do we know? He left.
Is he lying?
I don't know what state. What state are you
in? North Carolina.
He didn't
did they say you weren't breaking the law?
North Carolina's been getting up to date on their shit too.
Oh, I'm in North Carolina. Where are you at in North Carolina?
Near Asheville.
I'm in Greensboro.
Nice.
I don't know either where those are. I have no idea.
I know exactly where Greensboro is. I used to live in Winston-Salem, Kyle.
Did they say?
Hell yeah.
Did they tell you were not breaking the law though,
or did they tell you to leave?
They just told me to leave. That's all I recollect.
Well, if you had broken the law, they would have told you you're breaking the law, correct?
Asheville is one of those.
Well, they have to give. I think they would tell you you're breaking the law here, and they give you a warning, or whatever. Just by telling you to leave.
They told him to leave. Why would they tell him to leave if he wasn't breaking the law?
Because they do that all the time. They tell people leave and they're not breaking the law. That's the whole point.
Oh, no.
If there's like some sort of regulation should have to look up, obviously I will. I just didn't really know what to do at the time. So I just decided.
I got you. That's the thing. He probably thought that you were in a space that you shouldn't have been in. You complied by not flying it anymore. And so there wasn't any reason to push it anymore.
Yeah.
What a coincidence that this, David. I didn't forget you had a question for me, but let me just say this real quick. What a coincidence that this just happened today. Actually, it's not. It's going to sound irrelevant, Steve, but just bear with me. So, 15 years ago, I got numerous IRA accounts, 401ks, 403bs, all that for the stuff that I do. And when 15 years ago, a guy that I work with at a nonprofit, him and I started our 403b together at the same time. And he said he wasn't going to get involved in mutual funds. He was going to play the market individually and just every single stock he could possibly do. 15 years later, I run into the guy today. Couldn't believe it. So we're just talking. I go, hey, how's things going with your stocks? And I just stuck with mutual funds. I move around about once every 4 years, as things change, but I don't play it every day. And he goes, oh, I'm doing real good. I'm about here. And I go, that's where I'm at. I go, can you pull up your actual number? And we looked. He was $300 in excess. He is above me by $300. He spent his whole life sweating all that bullshit to gain $300. So what I'm saying is, people say, when I go through a traffic stop, the principle is what matters to me. I'm not going to answer where hotel I stayed in or give them my driver's license. I'm just going through. I'm going to resist, and then I'm stuck at the border for a whole hour until they finally realize that I'm in the right and I can drive away. I'm in the next lane going, bye. I mean, it's not important.
Yeah, but
Right.
again,
Agreed. That's the ultimate
but that's
point.
a different argument. I mean, I think it's one of these things that has to be taken incrementally. But by the way, I am getting. Do you know who Black Label Cop Watch is?
I know Cop Watch. I don't know Black Label.
Black Label Cop Watch. They have about 100,000 subscribers, give or take.
Yeah.
They're going to be getting in touch with us. They're the ones we're hoping to bring on to talk about these audits. And of course, we want you to be the person to engage with them on them with your expertise. So I'm going to be contacting them again to see if this is going to happen. So they're bigger than what's his name? James. Yeah, they're bigger than
He
James.
can't come on because of legal issues.
Yeah.
Imagine.
He got arrested on a military base or off a military base.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't.
Well, he didn't get arrested. He got.
Don't be dumb.
Held. No, that's a legal term. Arrested.
Don't be dumb.
Why? How is using proper terminology dumb? I don't.
Not you people. Like don't go and try to protest on an army base. Like they will hem you up. Hell yes, they will. You're on an army base.
Well, they weren't on the base. That's the problem. They were off base. That was the issue.
He was
military.
When I say on the base, I don't mean like literally on the base. You can't act suspicious around, in the vicinity of, in the area of, close to, near, adjacent to, perpendicular to an army base, because they will come and they will hem you up.
I was in the Navy.
Because
I didn't have guard duty, but
let's look at Texas when that guy went and went on a shooting spree at that base in Texas. I mean, that's
Fort Hood. Was that Fort Hood?
Yeah, Fort Hood. That's been what, 6 years ago?
Yeah,
that's still fresh in everybody's mind. So you can't take chances with people like that nowadays.
I don't think that.
Here's what I was going to ask, if that's okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Actually, I was going to have to say.
So, Jamie.
David.
Yeah.
David.
What?
Jamie. Everybody.
Oh, I couldn't hear you, Bull. Sorry.
Just streaming person talking. We do need to wrap this up. We've been streaming for over 2 hours, and I was streaming for over 2 hours, almost 2 hours before that. So go ahead and ask your question, David and Jamie, but please make this short.
Yeah.
Oh, God's getting tired.
God is getting tired, and God just got off the pot, and he needs to go to bed.
Yeah.
Four.
All I was going to say is how it seems to me is, and I mean, our legal system up here is slightly different, but in the context of what I know of your legal system, it seems to me to be very similar to the idea of paper terrorism, right? Where people file all kinds of useless cases, it bogs up the court, and it's been deemed not correct to do, even though technically filing stuff is not illegal.
We call that abusive litigation.
It's like the intention of it. So if these guys are showing up to film with the intention of provoking a response from authorities or some kind of altercation, then they're not really up to something necessarily useful. And if a cop does ask you, hey, what are you doing here, et cetera, I think that it's more than reasonable to just comply and answer the question. It's when they use undue force, when somebody's being resistant, that then you want to file a complaint.
I can't believe you're making that argument.
That's the court system.
That's just a bad argument, though, man. That's like saying, well, you know what? What is, because you're saying, even though they're legally able to do that, we're going to go after them anyways.
It's
the cops' position.
These people are doing it legally, David. Legal. Stop harassing them.
But it's the police's prerogative.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The police do not have the prerogative
what
to
they
harass
perceive as the peace, and if they misstep, it's up to the courts to determine whether or
That's
not
why these people
they
sue.
were
And
in
that's why
line
the
with
last guy won
person
$80,000 per event. He got 2,000.
He's called being civil, but ultimately Jamie's right when he says that you don't make change that way. You make change from getting in the court and fighting it. That
Different
way.
argument. But to
Not
say
different
that just because we know that
it alleviates
that they're doing nothing illegal.
The idea that you have to be suspicious and just cause other people to get tense up. Some people, I'm sure, fear for their life in this situation. They don't know what. They don't know what.
Did you ever have a firearm?
I don't know what's happening there.
Did you ever?
I don't
have a
believe in
firearm?
guns. I don't do guns myself.
So you've never have you shot one?
Not only do I own guns,
I know you do, Jamie.
I instruct how to.
I know you do.
And I serve on a Second Amendment activism committee.
Yeah,
so,
and you're aware that I had a concealed weapon permit.
Yeah.
So we both of us would agree that we are people that advocate if you are legally authorized to own a gun, go for it. I mean, I don't think you ever would say otherwise, right?
Real quick, just because of some of the comments in chat, just to clarify, I've had dinner with Steve Holbrook. So any Second Amendment people out there who doesn't know who that is, that's the person who authored the amicus brief for the Heller versus DC case. I got people in the know, in the now, that I'm friends with that are pro Second Amendment. It's still a liberty, even though the Second Amendment, the plain language says right. And that's the thing, guys, is the NRA's kind of lied to you. I got to tell you.
I'm not a fan of the NRA.
Yeah. It's not, it's this idea that the Constitution can be understood by plain language only interpretation.
Yeah,
very, very amateur and immature.
But I'm on your side on that one, Jamie. I'm not a fan of the NRA.
But I think we're going to have to bring this to a close. This will be an epic discussion when we have one of these people come on to discuss it. I'll be interested to hear how they answer the question, especially with the point that David brought up about what goes on the camera that we can't see. But just from what I see, it just looks like a bunch of hoopla.
Yeah, I think
if
hoopla
is a word.
Awesome discussion. I'm going to email them directly. I think. In fact, I'll do it as soon as the stream ends. I think
thank you, Jamie.
Definitely watched.
And David and Ocean and ESO. And
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you spoke. That's all that matters. And I still can't say your name. Caprion.
I have no fucking clue.
You've got to change your name. Look,
real quick, what are you 3D printing back there? I can't.
The same thing.
No, it's just some bullshit.
And by the way, can I just go on record before we end the stream, Jamie? I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do agree with what you're saying. I do think that there's a common way of looking at the law. The Bill of Rights, those are our liberties that are given us by the government from what we call the Bill of Rights, but those are liberties, not rights.
In most cases, they're protections. But
that's fair enough too.
Limitations on the federal government.
I do see the distinction there, and I'm not discounting that.
Yeah,
I do agree with you.
And I agree with you.
They're called civil liberties. Yes,
I agree with you on the core principle of being able to, not be infringed for just no reason whatsoever. You're just walking through, minding your own business. As far as you haven't broken a law, and all of a sudden you're being harassed by police.
I just want a bunch of comments going, Jamie was right about the civil liberties and rights. Yeah, I know, I'm agreeing with him. He is right on it.
I think we all agree, Jamie, that that your rights shouldn't be infringed on, but you also shouldn't go looking for trouble. I don't think.
Yeah, decency is a personal responsibility, but accountability is a whole responsibility.
And that's a good argument to make. I think that's the way to go. I think if we can get them on here, and like I said, I'll mess with them tonight. Cool.
Yeah. All right. And if you want to talk Sunday too, Steve, let me know.
Oh yeah. We'll have that.
I was going to say, if you're going to do an episode on this, I cannot wait for it. And it was awesome talking to you guys. Appreciate it.
You as well. Thank you for
thank you guys coming in.
Thank you for joining us. Absolutely.
Indeed.
It's good hanging out with you assholes.
Who the fuck are
you? Yeah.
Tomorrow,
I saw you posted on Twitter today. I'm a little mad about that, Ocean.
What the hell did I put
tomorrow, guys, join us for the Flat Earth Roast at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Skylar Fiction and Solio del Gloria.
Oh, sure.
I think it's a Catholic name. Sorry if I butchered that, but they will be with us at 8 o'clock on Sunday. So we'll see you here tomorrow to roast some more Flat Earth, and then we'll put it on the shelf for a little bit.